Okay. Finally fixed it. Oh my god, I forgot to put Monami up. Shit. Sorry guys. I forgot the most crucial thing when setting up, for fuck's sake. I'm actually dumb. Oh, let me fix that real quick. Oh, there she is. Oh, jeez. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I just need to, set up a dumbass idiot that you're seeing on screen right now. Hold on. Okay. Alright. Well then. Looks like everything's working as it should. Let me turn this on. Jeez. Alright, welcome one, welcome all. I don't know why it's saying no game, considering... I do not... Oh, right. I don't have a game set. There we go. Yeah, I, got back a few hours ago, and I was just really rushing for the stream, so... I apologize for, you know, getting running around like a dumbass. But yeah, let me just send the live ping in Discord. I really gotta get used to starting up all the streams. I forgot I fucked up my YouTube thumbnail, so I fixed that for like the what is it? The YouTube rebroadcast for VODs. Again, if you want to watch any VODs, you could just go to my YouTube channel, and you could just watch any VOD there because it's way better of a viewing experience than Twitch. But yeah, let's talk about a few things today. And as you guys know, I hope you guys are doing well, obviously. Those of you in chat, those of you viewing, those of you doing whatever. I know Twitch is being a bit of a butt recently with a bunch of their view counts and things like that. So if you guys are here and you're lurking, feel free to just type exclamation lurk in chat, just so Twitch knows that you're a person and not a bot. I don't know why Twitch is so stupid. But yeah. Okay, so let me just put this on here. Okay, so there's gonna be an ad for a second. Let me snooze that for now. We'll run it in a bit later. Okay, so we got 5 minutes. All right. So today, it's a black screen. Yes, I love black screen. It's actually not a black screen. I gotta set my stuff. Oh my god, I've really just been all over the place this week because I've just been so fucking busy. Like, I'm preparing for some important stuff next week, and it's gonna be a lot of work. You know, I mean, it's always good to do a bunch of work, but at the same time, it takes a lot out of you. So yeah. Alright, so let me pull up the Apple website. So today what we're gonna be talking about is the Apple event. Basically, I want to talk all about it, what they've done, what Apple has done, what Apple has messed around with, and what I really think about Apple as a company today. Because I haven't really... I've been using an iPhone for years, right? And why is it... Uh-oh. Showing it twice. There we go. Alright, so yeah, this is the... I can show the... God damn it, go away. Alright. Here's the start of all the new Apple stuff. I'm just gonna wait a few minutes just so people can coming in if they want to. But yeah, the new stuff has released. Tim Apple released an event. And this stream is definitely not going to be me, you know, being like, oh my god, Tim Cook is our savior, like, he knows everything. No, I don't think that... I have a lot of opinions about the new stuff when I saw it. I didn't really see the full event video, so if you guys did, feel free to let me know what's going on here. And anything that I might have missed, of course. I mean, obviously, I'm a busy person, you're busy people, everything is just back and forth, you know, so just keep it on the down low. But what we saw from the Apple event, let me get VS Code up here. Let me get VS Code up so I can just type out a few things. But essentially, the September event, and I'll probably cover the October one as well for MacBooks, but the September event usually consists of like Apple Watch, the iPhone, and I guess AirPods / miscellaneous stuff. They also like formally announce the new iOS. And again, I talked about the iOS 26 like in a previous stream because, you know, it was pretty well covered in terms of what was there, but they formally announced it to like people who aren't developers, so you know, like, hey, what's the big deal here? You know, what's the big deal about this new iOS stream coming into play? So yeah, all right, let me write down a few things. So I guess we could go over the Apple Watch first. I have a lot to unpack. So the Apple Watch, as you know, wearable device, and it allows you to, it's basically an iPhone companion. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the Apple website here. And we're gonna take a look at what the Apple Watch has brought us. We're gonna save the iPhone for like the middle of this stuff because it makes more sense in my opinion. Alright, so let's go to Apple. Okay. Oh my god, can it stop going? Alright, so the Apple Watch, let's look at the new stuff. So here is the watch, right? You got the Series 11, which is new, the SE3 and the Ultra 3. Now, if we look at the press release, September Apple event press release. Let me look this guy up. Yeah, let's look at this. So they announced the iPhone 17. That's a wrong name if you guys don't know. AirPods Pro 3, Apple Watch Series 11, and more, which is interesting. So let's just scroll down to the watch. Try and find it at least. Okay, Apple Watch, try and process it, yada yada. Okay, here we go. So there's 3 watches, right? There's the Series 11, there's the SE3, and then there's the Ultra 3. So they released the 3rd iteration. I'm gonna explain what each of these are. And again, I'm not paid by Apple. Why the fuck would Apple give a shit about small-time person like me? But I like looking at these products because it really shows me how far they've come in terms of like their closed hardware walled garden type of stuff, you know? So first, let's look at the Series 11. And this is just like the normal watch, right? It has... So, okay, let's look at the new things that have come along. But the watch is mainly usually for fitness, sleep, like just monitoring your body type of stuff. And Apple really like dove into that here, like they do with every single watch. So it's basically your average stuff that people buy. Okay, let's look at this. So Series 11 can spot chronic high blood pressure and notify you of possible hypertension. Okay, so that's pretty nice. I mean, I didn't expect I'd be talking about hypertension today, but I guess I can. So, okay, let me pull up my iPad, actually. Because I think it would be best to explain what hypertension or high blood pressure is, because as you guys know, Apple loves to market things, and I personally don't. I like to look into things and understand like what everything is. So let me pull out my iPad and just note down just a more brief overview as to how hypertension works and what specifically it is. I actually have done a lot of hypertension cases, like for patients in my rotation, so pretty used to it at this point. I mean, it's pretty easy to understand how hypertension works. It's just hard to completely, you know, encapsulate the entire thing. So let me open up my iPad. Give me 1 second. And again, I always say this in the beginning of the stream. If any of you guys have questions, an ad break, great. Sorry for the ads, guys. But if any of you guys have any questions or anything, just feel free to let me know. I mean, I'm open. Hey, Naman, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Sorry, you're in an ad break. I hate ads. Twitch is terrible. I need to fix the YouTube Twitch bidirectional chat soon. Maybe I'll work on it tomorrow. Who knows? But let's connect my iPad to AirPlay here. You're not in an ad break? Okay, so this happened to Nemu last time. So yeah, okay, that's good. That's good then. If it's not happening, I'll pick the chat back up. Hold on. Because I remember Nemu last time she was here, there was no ad break, and that was weird. I see no ads. Okay, I'll take it. I mean, the less people see ads, the better. So what browser are you using? I want to know. Because, like, I see ads all the time. I need to fix it. Holy iPhone 15.3. Hey, Link Farm, how you doing? So, I'm actually going to just explain the principle of hypertension if you guys are interested, like high blood pressure, how it works, and all that stuff. Because as you guys might not know, MTP, arc with uBlock. Okay, so maybe uBlock is doing it. Interesting. MTP. I'll talk about MTP when we get to the iPhone segment, which is a little bit later in this stream. But yeah. So basically what I was saying previously, for those who just joined, the Apple Watch Series 11 release, I'm just going to go over this because there's a lot of tech involved with the Apple Watch regarding health. And I feel like it's best to cover like what specifically it does. I don't know the technology behind the hypertension stuff. I assume it's using your heart data and whatever you put in for your weight, etc., etc. But apparently the new Series 11 can tell you if you have hypertension to see a physician. So let's talk about how it works. All right, so as you guys know, hypertension, also abbreviated as HTN, stands for high blood pressure. Right, so high blood pressure can be through a lot of things, right? Most people, it's usually there's primary hypertension and there's secondary hypertension. Right, so primary hypertension is really just, you know, idiopathic. And it happens. So you just have a high blood pressure reading. And secondary is usually something that's causing it. So it could be something like kidney stenosis or something like that. So renal artery stenosis is one. Also, there could be atherosclerotic disease, and I'll explain what those are in a second. But most of these things can cause high blood pressure. And the number one cause is idiopathic, meaning that it just pops up on its own. So idiopathic is just, it pops up by itself. That's where hypertension comes from, right? You don't know where it comes from, but you have it now, and we got to figure it out. Okay? So, the main thing with hypertension and blood pressure in general is that you need some sort of pressure. Right, so let's make this a red vessel. This is an artery, right? So an artery, very muscular, very narrow. And you need some sort of pressure to course blood through the body. It has to be constricted. It has to be like a baseline amount of pressure. This is where the blood pressure cuff or the sphygmomanometer comes in, right? So you have the blood pressure cuff, you wrap it around yourself, they get the vitals when you go to like the doctor or something. So when you have this, you know, increased blood pressure, it's basically clamping down on your arteries, making it harder to push through. So when you have, let's just draw an artery here from the cross-sectional view. The blood is going down this way, and usually it's nice and wide, right? Blood can flow down nice and easy. But sometimes when you have stressful situations, such as like you're running from a bear, you're constricting your blood vessels. This is called vasoconstriction, right? So you're constricting blood vessels to allow for blood to course faster throughout your body, as opposed to being relaxed like on a lazy river. So when you have chronic, basically this, you have hypertension, right? So, but there's also another mechanism. And hopefully you guys are understanding this so far. Let me know if you have any questions. But essentially, you can either have pressure, or let's have this artery again, and let's fill it up with blood, right? So this is like your normal blood volume, for example. It's coursing through nice and lazy, nice and easy throughout the entire blood vessel. But sometimes, you can have too much blood going in your vessels. And this is like the opposite thing, where there's too much volume. And this is usually due to like a dysfunction in the kidney, or you're eating too much sodium, for example. So yeah, that's what essentially happens here. So those are mainly the things with hypertension. And let's circle back to the Apple Watch here. And again, I gave more of an abridged explanation as to what it was. The main thing with the Apple Watch is that it's monitoring your heart data. So when you have hypertension, obviously there's going to be some backflow, right? Because there's increased pressure. So let's just say you have your heart here. Right, so this is your heart. Here's the aorta, the vessel that comes out of your heart. We divide it into 4 chambers. Okay, so when there's high pressure, there's a huge backflow of blood into here, which can cause the heart to gain more muscle in a more, you know, ragged way, causing complications. There's a lot of things that can happen due to high blood pressure, and that's why it's screened like every single year at an annual physical. So Apple is essentially detecting any problems with your heart rate, which is what I'm seeing here, and it allows it to see like, hey, there's something wrong with how we're tracking your heart, or there's something wrong with your heart, so we think you might have high blood pressure. Please see your doctor. Essentially, that's what happens. And I can go over this again, like, later in the stream if you guys want. Like, I can give a more detailed look, but this was more of a summarized thing. There's also sleep score, whatever. I mean, I might talk about, like, sleep in a different stream, but yeah, sleep score is more or less just something, you know, that isn't really necessary. I personally don't believe in utilizing devices to track your sleep. It's kind of useless. Like, if you want to track sleep, get yourself a sleep study. This is kind of useful, but, like, I don't know. It feels like more marketing to me than anything. And again, same with this hypertension thing. It's more of like preventative, right? So if you see it, then you can visit your doctor and be like, hey, I might have high blood pressure. Can you measure it for me? And yeah, about 24 hours battery life. Glass display. I have so much to unpack about glass displays, but I'm going to save it for the iPhone because I got way more to talk about. 5G performance is cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, it just says, we're improving your health, and that's it. Okay, I know they also have, like, a period tracker now or something. I mean, honestly, this is really nice if you really don't track yourself well. I mean, I think people have become too dependent on apps to do things for them, but at the same time, they've become, you know, very useful, especially for, like, tracking things, keeping up to date on when you should go to this doctor, that doctor, because most people have, like, so many doctors nowadays. It's crazy. But yeah. Oh, yeah, I can also measure your pulse ox. Ooh, okay, okay. Do you guys... Alright, I'm just gonna ask the chat here if you guys are up for it. I can go back to it after I talk about this, but do you guys want me to talk about how Apple Watch and all these other fitness devices track your heart rate, they track your pulse oximeter, because it's some really interesting physics stuff, and I'd like to talk about it at some point. Probably not right now, though. So yeah, just let me know if you guys want me to talk about it. I'm down. Okay, anyways. Fitness, yada yada yada. Okay, this is all marketing bullshit. More battery life. Obviously, I don't understand why battery life is, like, such a big thing in marketing announcements, because, like, I understand that battery life is a thing, right? It's usually not what it's marketed. It's usually much less than what people market it as. Or, sorry, the company markets it as, but I feel like better battery life should just be, like, a given with any new device. I know the basics of how they work on the... Okay, so I could teach you guys, like, the full understanding of it. We can look it up. I know pulse ox by my heart. Like, by my heart, though. It's very easy to understand. Safety. Oh, okay. So they added a lot of safety features from the looks of it. I don't know if this was, like, last year as well, but I guess they added, like... Oh, yeah, I remember crash detection and fall detection were added last year. Oh, this is useful. So if you get lost, you can use the compass to get back to where you were. That's kind of funny. That's actually very useful, though, because getting lost in, like, the forest is pretty bad, no? Okay, let's go over how much this shit costs. Okay. Pre-order. See how much it costs. Oh my god. $699 for the titanium? Yeah, getting lost to the mall would be useful. Hey, Long Gap, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Nice to see ya. I think I saw you on the Twitter chat one time, and honestly, I do not have that up right now because I'm a lazy ass, but yeah, welcome to the stream. Much appreciated joining. Anyways, so we got a bunch of stuff here. Hold on, I think yeah, okay, we're good. So the aluminum finish. Wow, new finish. Wait, what? Oh, okay, they mean, like, the new color. I'm like, did they just give aluminum to the Apple Watch? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, is it just titanium? No, it's aluminum, okay. So they just added, like, a new way for it to look, and it costs 400 bucks. Honestly, cheap for an Apple device, considering, like, all the other ones that we'll see are way more fucking expensive. But yeah, you get the fatter one, it's $400. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know, do you guys think spending like 400, 300 is really worth it for this? I don't know, like, I'd love to know what you guys think about this pricing. I mean, I know a lot of people are Android people and hate Apple, which I understand and respect that. I don't get the point of a watch. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, the only point... I mean, I know a few people in chat have Apple Watch. I know some of them personally, so... I personally find like it's good if you're a fitness guy, right? If you love working out, if you love being active, having a watch like this will really help. I mean, I go to the gym, not like as crazily as an Instagram influencer, for example, but I mainly just, the only thing I use to watch, yeah, that's what's really marketed towards for working out, right? I guess some people have it as like a thing on their wrist. I know one of my old friends used to use it for, unlocking their door. Yeah, unlocking your MacBook. Yeah, like that. I just said it. So yeah. So it costs about 390. It costs about $400. Okay, so it either connects to your iPhone, and it can also just work standalone. Old people like wearing Apple. Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I tell me more. Old people like to wear Apple Watch? Seriously? I thought it would be more young people than old people, because like this is a whole tech thing, and you know how old people are mostly about tech. So I don't know. I thought they like to go away and stick with like, oh, how do I use this phone? Because I know a lot of people who are older than me, and they always have tech problems. They always ask me for support, and I'm like, bro, I'm only one person. I'm in fucking medical school. I'm doing work here, man. So, yeah. There's a stainless steel band. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, it costs $400. I think young people make the old people. Oh, okay. I just say read everything on the screen. Yep, that's what we're doing. I'm just taking a look at it. People make their old people wear them since they have fall detection. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, there probably is something cheaper for just fall detection, and again, old people and falls is really bad because, let me actually draw it for you guys. I've been studying this for like the past month, so I'm going to talk about this. I am sorry. So, old people have the tendency to have more brittle bones. So we're gonna draw like a little bone here. I think I drew osteoporosis before. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Well, it's pretty much everywhere. It's in like every fucking ad on TV anyways. But yeah, so this is your bone, right? A nice little bone here. It's pretty chill. It's vibing. It's existing. And it's basically what your femur would look like, except like it has this little protrusion thing on the end to stick into the hip. But let's take a look at osteoporosis itself, right? So you have 3 layers of bone. You have something called the cortical bone, which is like the hard outer layer of the bone. So we're gonna draw that in red, and it looks kind of like this. It's kind of like hexagonal shaped on the inside. Those are called like the reversion or central like the lamellar units. That's what they're called. But essentially, cortical bone is very well formed. It's tough. And spongy bone, draw this in green, is basically bone with all these holes in it. That's why it's called spongy. And this is your bone marrow. Okay, so that's your bone, right? So the spongy bone has these things called trabeculae, and in medical speak, trabeculae just stands for holes. This allows for like vessels and nerves and marrow to pass through. Contrary to popular belief, your bones actually do have vessels in them. You might not think that, but they have to be nourished somehow. So spongy bone has like meshwork of holes to allow for all the vessels to go through. Pretty cool. Now in osteoporosis, right, which is usually in women, but it can also be in men, these holes get bigger. Either because of aging, right? Or it could be because, you're not getting enough calcium, either through not getting enough vitamin D, or some hormone dysfunctions, or anything of the sort. But basically, these bones get big. These holes get bigger. And what happens when, let's just say you have a skyscraper, right? And you make the spacing, you decrease the amount of load-bearing walls inside a house. It collapses. It has more tendency to collapse. So the bone is very brittle. So when a person falls, right? So if they fall down the stairs, I've fallen and I can't get up. Right? So I've fallen and I can't get up. Help me. This is usually something that you go to the hospital for. Because if an elderly patient falls, it's very likely that you can break some important bones in the body. And this can cause, death of said bones. Could require hip replacement, knee replacement, anything of the sort. Now, like most of you guys here are probably like, what, 20, 30, some probably 40. You guys don't have to worry about that just yet. Usually it's like when you get older, in the 50s, 60s, whatever, that you'll start to you might start seeing signs of osteoporosis or just weakening of the bones in general. And this is where stuff like this becomes a medical emergency. You can also like fracture your skull and get blood pooling into your brain as well. So that's also a possibility. I mean, to be fair, that can happen now too, because you can have anyone can have a brain hemorrhage. But yeah, that being said, so when I send the old man like to use them to take the phone call instead of having, really? Okay. They like to take the phone call while driving with an Apple Watch. I don't know if that's safe, but okay. I feel like, yeah, I talked about long gap. I don't know if you were in the stream last week, but I did talk about Apple CarPlay and how it worked versus the fucking Spotify car thing, which is useless as shit. But yeah, so what Naman was saying earlier about fall detection, that's why fall detection is so important in older people, and that's why Life Alert is a thing, and it saves many lives. So yeah, if you got an old person, be aware of risks of falls. Nevertheless, let's go back to the watch. There's also one more thing I want to talk about the watch. There's also the SE, which is like, you know, the cheaper version of the Apple Watch. This is like a shittier version. I like to call it the budget version. That's why, that makes sense. Health sensors, motion sensors, durable. Bro, does anyone, like, I'm gonna be so fucking for real right now. What the fuck do these words mean? What is Ion X display? I don't get it. I don't get what it means. Why do they name the display and technology so weird? Like, oh, it's this new super durable display. Motherfucker, the display is glass. It's a glass display. It's gonna break if you drop it from like a huge distance. Like, come on, bro. Like, seriously? I guess display is 4 times more resistant to cracks. I mean, you could harden the glass, but it's still gonna break at some point in time. I feel like just displays in general are prone to breaking apart. And I have a story that I'd like to tell you guys after we get into the iPhone segment. Speaker, yada yada yada, water resistant. Okay, that's all useless. Heart rate. I guess right now, I guess this one doesn't give you hypertension warnings, which is weird considering that all it takes is from the heart rate data, but whatever. Possible sleep apnea. Oh, I guess? Yeah, so I'm not gonna go on a tangent about sleep apnea. I'm saving that for another stream, but yeah, sleep apnea is definitely something that the Apple Watch can look into because it does track sleep, I guess. Do you talk about the ear? I'm gonna talk about that next. I want to talk about that next, actually. Okay, so yeah, it's the same thing as the Apple Watch, just like budget. It's cheaper. So it costs $249. Okay, that's way better than the original series. This is probably the one most people will buy, I'm not gonna lie, because like, let's be for real, it looks the same, man. It just has like different finishes and that's it. $279, that's actually not that bad. It's like half the price of a Switch 2. And like infinitely more utility in my opinion. But yeah, same shit. All right. And I also just want, let me just look at the Ultra real quick before I move on, because like this is like the Apple Watch Pro. I don't really know why. I feel like this one is just thicker. It's the fat boy Apple Watch. Okay, so we got satellite. Oh, okay, so now it has satellite stuff. I know, I feel like with the watch, the satellite is a good thing, because like, you know, you're carrying it when you're hiking, and then if you get lost, you can use the satellite to call rescue. I guess it's useful in this case, but with the iPhones, right? With the iPhone 14, it introduced satellite connectivity. Do you guys think that the satellite is any useful? Like, do you think it'll ever be useful, is what I'm trying to say. GPS, battery, whatever, battery life, water. Okay, better water resistance, high blood pressure, sleep score, same shit. Okay. But yeah, just let me know, like, do you guys ever think the satellite feature in any phone really is useful? Because I know people have sat phones, like rich people. Snooze the ad break games, I might yap a bit more. But yeah, it's just a fatter Apple Watch with like more shit in it. I don't think it's more of a upgrade, rather than just like, okay, we released a new revision, enjoy. Let's see how much this. Yo, this shit costs $800? Dude, who is paying $800 for a watch? It could be useful if you're a mobile, otherwise carry a Starlink if you're going deep. I think T-Mobile is gonna do a partnership for I heard of that actually. Yeah, T-Mobile with Starlink for satellite. I think that makes sense. I mean, Starlink is its whole other thing, right? I know United, the airline in the US, partner with Starlink, and they get like 450 megabytes download. God knows why you need that in a fucking plane for like a temporary amount of time, but sure, I guess. But dude, this costs $800 fucking dollars. Do you, bro? What else can you buy with $800? Please tell me. Like, Jesus. I think people like buy this stuff anyways. Like, even if they don't need it, they just buy the Ultra because like, ooh, this is the better model. It will last me longer. No. Seriously, this is fucking expensive. God damn. They put all the work in here. Jeez. Alright, the finish is whatever. They got the loops. Titanium Milanese. Bro, what? $900 for a watch is crazy. I guess it's because it's like the highest end, but at the same time, man. Dude, that is expensive. You gotta be a big boy, big money man to make that, to buy that, or even think about buying it, man. Holy shit. I think Link Farm is on the money here. Buying a watch is not worth it if you're buying it at this fucking price point. Jesus. Alright, anyways. Do you guys want me to talk about the AirPods right now, or do you want me to start a quick ad break because it's in 10 minutes? I don't mind doing either. But yeah, SAT connectivity is a very interesting thing because I feel like the only time it's useful is for if you're lost. I remember Apple was like, hey, we'll give you the SAT connectivity for like, you know, period of 2 years because we're testing it out. And then like, oh, thank you. No, I'll hydrate. But they're like, we'll give you the SAT connectivity for like 2 years. And yeah, but like, we also don't want to give it forever. So it's gonna be a subscription service if you want SAT nav. Okay, then why the fuck do you put it in the phone? Right? Like, I don't know. Okay, I guess I can run around with the AirPods. If we go on an ad break, I'll just stop talking, or I'll keep talking because you guys, for some reason, aren't having ads, and that's a good thing. So this is the one thing that everybody was really talking about is the AirPods 3, the Pro 3. $249 is fucking expensive, by the way, for earbuds. I have my own opinions on wireless earbuds I'll talk about in a second, but yeah. The main thing about the AirPods is that they now have a heart rate monitor. Let me find it real quick. I read this before. Yeah, here we go. So they now have a heart rate monitor that works like similarly to the Apple Watch. Like, kind of. So essentially it says right here, it helps you track your heart rate and calories burned during workouts. Using LEDs that pulse invisible light 256 times per second and sensor fusion from the accelerometers, AirPods Pro 3 give you incredibly accurate data for 50 different workout types in the fitness, yada yada yada. Okay, so they essentially just figured out a way to get the heart rate from any AirPods. I've had subpar microphone. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really think it'll have a better microphone, and here's why. It's because it's just stems, bro. Like, the microphone is literally just stems. So you have the AirPod in the ear, and your voice has to travel behind and be captured ambiently. And it also has to block out the noise of everyone else. So the microphone is obviously going to have some post-processing to it, that's for sure. Will it be better? Well, yeah, it will be better than before. Is it going to be as good as, like, the normal phone microphone? Probably not, because, like, you know, I don't think... Because you're trying to get the sound into your ears, which are behind your mouth, as opposed to, like, a normal microphone. Like, now, I'm speaking directly into a microphone, which is really close to my mouth right now. Same with the phone, right? So it just depends on how the waves move along. I don't know if there's any, like, physicists in chat or anything, but yeah, that's essentially what I think when it comes to stuff like this. Okay, and they also, you know, with the... I heard the AirPods Pro are really good because they have, like, really good noise canceling. And I think you guys already know how the noise canceling on AirPods works, but I'll just draw it real quick just to show you guys. So let's just say we have 3 people. Alright, so here's person 1. here's person 2, and here's person 3. So person 3 is talking, person 2 is talking. There's like ambient city noise all over the place. So your AirPods, I'll just draw these boxes here, pretty much creates a neutralization sound. That's the wrong way. And that cancels out the sounds from here and here, and also from here. Right, so that's how AirPods noise canceling works. It's active noise cancellation versus passive. Like, you have just it plugging your ears so far, that's just gonna prevent any noise from coming in. But active noise cancellation allows for, like, outside area to just be completely blocked by pushing a inverted audio, in a sense. So that's how it works from the layman's terms. But yeah, that's what the, AirPods Pro really talks about. And the heart rate sensor, I'll go over that later. If you guys want me to go over it now, I'll be okay with it, but I'll go over it later because I don't want to bore you guys with too many health concepts if you guys are getting bored, that is. But yeah, I have my own opinion on wireless earbuds too. Ay. I feel like the main good thing about wireless earbuds is that, you don't have the cable flopping around everywhere, and when you use them, it's like great for working out because you just pop them in, they don't get in the way of your set or something like that. So yeah. As you can tell, I do take working out pretty seriously. Okay, so how much does this cost? Oh, great. Well, there's no fucking... Alright. No engraving. Fuck the app. Okay, $249. I already said there, so cost $249. If I remember correctly, the watch costs $249 as well. So the watch costs about the same amount of price as the AirPods. Bro. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Alright. Yeah, sure. I guess the AirPods have more usability than the watch, arguably, because, like, it's headphones and everybody uses headphones. But yeah. One thing about... So, here's my main gripe with wireless headphones, right? It's that even though wireless headphones have, like, a better cable, they also have worse sound quality because it's wireless, right? You're distributing over radio. No matter how much technology you shove into there, wireless cannot beat wired, like a high-end pair of wired IEMs. Those are what I use, right? They cancel noise pretty well. The only thing is that they are fucking wires, so you're not really able to use them when working out. But wireless earbuds are just like, not 100% there in terms of quality compared to wired. And to hit the point home, Spotify, the music service everyone knows and loves, just released their lossless format. So the lossless format, is for audiophiles who somehow can hear the stuff that's on the higher end of the spectrum of hearing that's usually cut out in MP3 files. God knows if they can even hear that, if they're just bullshitting, but lossless audio essentially, doesn't work. The lossless feature from Spotify doesn't work on wireless headphones. Wireless earbuds. I use Samsung Buds too. Cheap, tiny, decent sounds and battery. Okay, good to know. Samsung Buds. Let me look that up. Samsung Buds. Okay, I turned on my caps lock by accident. Let's see what these are. Okay, I'm not signed in. Good. Okay, yeah, these look pretty nice. But again, they're gonna still have the same, problem as... Oh shit, I've not even shown it. These are still gonna have the same problem because they're wireless earbuds, so they're gonna be quote-unquote worse quality than wired, but to be completely honest with you, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, if you just want to listen to music, these will do the trick. I personally don't recommend them on a computer. I'm using, like, a wired over-ear headset that has, like, the little swivel. If you guys ever watched Dank Pods, then he's the guy you'd like to look at for this type of stuff. But yeah, his shit's funny. But yeah. But I think, like, the AirPods are the most popular, if I'm not mistaken. And here's, like, a suspicion that I have with AirPods, and it's one of Apple's highest selling products because they're one of the first people that... I feel like they're one of the first that made wireless earbuds popular. I think it was, like, the iPhone 7. It's like, oh, yeah, we're getting rid of the headphone jack and shit. So yeah, but the AirPods, right? So we have our... I can't draw, so I'm just gonna draw little boxes here. But yeah, I feel like the AirPods, when you're on Android, is a much worse experience. Like, they work, they connect and all. They work via Bluetooth. It would be kind of fucking crazy if the AirPods just didn't work via Bluetooth whatsoever. And then you have iOS, right? Which is just better. So my little Apple conspiracy theory is that the AirPods, you know, make a lot of people transition over to iPhone just because the experience is better. I don't know if you guys agree, let me know, but that's what I think. I feel like AirPods is such a popular, you know, thing, even more ubiquitous than the iPhone in my opinion, because people are divided in iPhone versus Android all the time, right? But with AirPods, everyone knows, hey, these are the best wireless earbuds to normies, so if you have an iPhone, it's gonna be better for you. That's why I think that they put the heart rate sensor in there, because, you know, the watch has the heart rate sensor, but the AirPods are the product that people will buy. So if they figure out a way to bring that to the AirPods, it'll have a bigger draw for people, if you get what I'm saying. And maybe it'll convert people to the iOS ecosystem. That's just like a little conspiracy theory I have about them as to why they're putting so much effort into it. But yeah, that's the AirPods. And again, we'll cover these more in depth later if you guys are down, because I do want to get to the meat of the stream, which is the iPhone, and we're running good on time, so yeah. I'm also gonna run an ad break now before we hit the iPhone. Just feel free to ask me any questions if you're not seeing any ads, and I'll see you soon. There's no pre-roll ads for new viewers with this, so thank you guys for watching the ads. I also apologize because Twitch fucking sucks. All right, so let's run this ad break. Any of you guys who are subscribed, watching on Twitter or watching on YouTube, feel free to hit me up on Twitch, and that's pretty much it. All right, guys, let's take a look. Let me just see these AirPods Pros here. Let's just see, like, do you guys think they're gonna release a newer version of the actual AirPods? Because when did they release the 4? Oh, okay. So these are $100 with ANC. I always have Ubuck up for Twitch, my VPN location. Really? Oh yeah, that's right. I think some areas just don't give you ads because you're in a specific area. That's right, okay. So I guess the ANC tech isn't present in like some AirPods version, which is interesting. So AirPods 4, the ANC, sure. It's like $100. It's honestly decent. Like, let me first see if I'm signed into Amazon. I don't want to dox myself, but let me go into Amazon, this private window here, and I'm gonna just look up IEM, right? In-ear monitors. These are like $44, $16. These are too fucking expensive. Let me see the ones that I have. Something like this, these critical ones. These are really good. Truth Ear 0. I think they're red. Yeah, I think I have these guys. $100 is great if you want to gift it on Christmas here, because yeah, exactly, right? I mean, in today's economy, in today's climate, $100 is like nothing to most people, in my opinion. So for kids, it's like a lot of money, but as you get older, I feel like people are paying like $100 for everything nowadays. So yeah, I mean, it's a good Christmas gift. But these guys right here, these IEMs are really fucking good. Like, they cancel the noise super well. They have nice sound, and if you get a much more robust cable, you're rolling in it, man. It's really nice. I like it. Okay, looks like ad break's over, so let's go back to the Apple window here. All right, guys. Enough waffling on about the stuff that, you know, Apple just released, like, poo-poo, here you go, enjoy. Let's look at the meat of this stream. The iPhones, right? I want to talk about the iPhones today because they changed a lot. They actually changed a lot this time, but they didn't innovate this time. I mean, they innovated, just like in a way that's very different than what I'd expect. I thought this was fake, I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was like not gonna happen. This looks like some random YouTube video. It's like, oh, the new Apple iPhone concept. Oh boy. But I guess let's look at the 17 right now. So, just to preface this, the reason why I talk so much about iPhones, because hold on, let me just let me take a photo here. I was gonna do a hand cam, but like I'm too fucking lazy. Let me take a photo here of the amount of iPhones I just have here. I'll just send this to my computer real quick. Telegram my goat. Put my phone in as well. And I'll just show you guys how many fucking iPhones I own. Oh my god. You guys are gonna fucking hate me. You see this? I'm not even trying to flex or anything. I'm just saying, like, I own a lot of fucking iPhones for no fucking reason whatsoever. An open Telegram, that would be nice. Maybe I could just use Tailscale. Let's see. Really? Why is Telegram not launching? What the fuck? Fuck, I'm just gonna send it to myself on Discord. Do that. Oh, there it is. Okay, sweet. And let me download the picture. Okay. Should have saved the photo. Let's see. Yep. Alright, sweet. So, for you guys that, you know, don't know me, I, well, used to be an iOS app dev. I mean, this is... So, I have 3 iPhones on the screen right now. Right, so we got the iPhone 12 mini, which I use for tracking Monami, right here, this fucking dumbass on your screen. Then we got an iPhone 7, and we finally have an iPhone 10R. So, the lore of all these phones is that the 7... If you guys don't know, there was a unpatchable exploit called Checkmate, and there was a way to run Android on an iPhone, and I fucking bought this iPhone 7 off a swapper for like a very cheap price. It's a good condition. I thought I had a lot more by the way you're hyping it up. I mean, in my opinion, 4 is enough. I have an iPhone 13 as like my daily driver that I took the photo with, and I also have a Pixel on the side. I don't think most people have like more than one phone. Ah, jeez. But yeah. So that's where the iPhone 7 was from. I basically used it to like run Android on an iPhone back in the day. I don't know if it's possible anymore. But yeah. And then the 10R I used to use for tracking Monami, but the back of the phone started like expanding in a way that was unsafe, and I'm like, I don't think I should be using this anymore. So I got 12 mini and I'm using that instead. You have 10. Wow. Jeez. I mean, you're probably older than me. I mean, I got my first phone like in 2014, 2015. That was an Android, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 Android phones. So I guess 8 phones in total. And then in terms of like daily drivers, I've had like 5, 6 daily drivers. These other ones are just phones I bought off of like Swappa, because I want to use them for like for various projects or just cameras in general. So yeah. I have a hand-me-down 3GS sitting in a cup in my room. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, the older iPhones were pretty cool. Like that's when people always say Apple always innovated. I agree, right? I mean, Apple innovated then, and I have my opinions on what they are doing now, which kind of weird, but whatever. But yeah, this is my stash. And I have my Pixel just sitting somewhere that we modded like on a different stream. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll probably make a video or stream as to how I do hand cam streams, because like I use iPhones for pretty much anything on my stream. I use it for tracking, I use it for webcamming. I don't use it for a microphone, of course, but I sometimes use it as like continuity camera with my Mac when I'm streaming on my Mac. It's really, really useful. Android phones are also good too, but like they're harder to come by, especially like used ones. I'm in the US, so I just use Swappa to do all the dirty work for me. Anyways, so Apple released the iPhone 17. Woo! Everyone, big applause. Wow, Apple released a new fucking phone, guys. Ah, jeez. Alright, so what'd they do now? Again, I actually didn't see anything about the iPhone 17 base model. You buy in person only. No. I buy online through Swappa. Swappa, actually, let me open it up for you guys. If you guys ever want to buy a used phone, this is the place to go. 1 second. If you're in the US, that is, right? If you're somewhere else, you're gonna have to look at that website, but basically you can just buy phones from Swappa. So you can just select whichever phone you want, shows the price. So an iPhone 11's 113 bucks. You get, I mean, I can find Android phones, right? But it's easier to find iPhones on this website. So I just buy that instead. Because there's so many different Android phones, right? I guess you could buy a Google Pixel, like here, for example. You could buy a Pixel 4, Pixel 3, etc. But like, I don't know, if iPhones also just have like better quality. They're way better for VTubing stuff, by the way. If you guys are ever want to fucking get a VTuber model for some way, shape, or form in the future, you need an iPhone for it. Like, it's just better tracking. You could use an Android phone, but an iPhone is just 50 times better because of like the Face ID cameras. That's like a known thing in the space. So yeah, to buy all that from here. You could also, you know what, Link Farm. So you can also just buy an Android phone, right? Those are possible. Samsung, you could buy Samsung phones. That's pretty cool. Wow. Surprisingly, these still... Oh, wait, this is S22. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Oh, there we go. I was looking for the cheap ones. Okay, so yeah, you can buy the really, really old Android Galaxy phones for much cheaper. Yo, I am not going to talk about that. I'm sorry, I don't talk about politics here, and you should know that considering you're one of my friends, all right? Please don't mention that in here. Thank you very much. I'm gonna just, hold on, guys. Let me just do that. Sorry, guys, I didn't want to. Yeah, my bad, guys. Let's get back to the stream here. That's not appropriate. Thanks. All right. So, yeah, you can buy Samsung phones. You can buy Android phones pretty easily. No issues. And yeah, so there's Google phones here. Right. Pretty nice. Anyways, so that's Swappa. Again, my one of the rules in chat is to no politics allowed. So please don't talk about that on my stream. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't care, dude. Please don't talk about politics in my stream. Thanks. Can I get like an iOS 16? What do you mean? iOS 16 runs on like... Yeah, you can. Oh, for jailbreak? You have to have your luck of the draw on that one, man. Because like iOS 16 is a, you know, ancient OS at this point. We're on iOS 26 already, and that's pretty much what happened there. But yeah. Okay, so let's look at the iPhone 17. So we got brighter display with ProMotion, so 120 hertz. Ceramic Shield 2. All right. Let's see. Ceramic Shield. Oh, it has center stage now, which is interesting. That's pretty cool. Dual fusion camera system. I know they were talking about this in the event, like it has like multiple lenses in there. Can someone like clarify that? Because I know there's like different types of cameras in this lens or something like that. I have no idea how it works. If anyone wants to clarify that, let me know. A19 chip, yeah. iOS 26 with the liquid glass shit. I remember I talked about the liquid glass stuff in a different stream. I personally like it. It's nice. It adds like a lot of... I have no idea either, and my phone does the same thing. Okay, good to know, good to know. Because I know like my 13 has this really annoying thing where when you like go close on an object, if you go close on an object, it'll, you know, what is it? It'll switch to the macro camera. So the object that I'm trying to go close to suddenly just flips out, and it's like, no. It's 3x 48 megapixels and 6x 12 megapixels, 1 plus 12. Okay, I see. Yeah. Okay, so I'm assuming that 3x and 6x means the amount of zoom you can go in or something like that. Let me ask Claude, hold on. If you guys want to tell me as well, any photo buffs in here, just let me know. So, oh Jesus Christ. What does 3x 48 megapixels mean? Okay, yeah, 3x optical zoom. Okay, I was right when I was thinking about it. So it can zoom up to 3 times. The millimeter zoom the camera is at, you know how 50 megabit. Okay, okay, I see. Okay, I understand. Okay, so it's zoom based. All right, so that's what the X stands for. Gotcha. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anyways, we also have Apple Intelligence. Anyone in the LLM and AI community knows extremely how just how good Apple Intelligence is. That's sarcasm, by the way. Fucking Apple Intelligence is like a fucking flop, dude. You're not getting an iPhone for the AI features, man. It's terrible. What they did is they promised the intelligence features like last year, and they didn't even come out. Like a few of them didn't come out until this year. And the new Siri, like the new one that they promised us, like, oh, we have so many new things. The Gemma Q2, Q18. Yeah, no, I'm saying like just Apple in general. Like they, you know, haven't really delivered on their promises for like the past year, even though they promised like the new Siri since last year, and they just haven't done anything with it. But Google has been doing a lot of work with their AI. So if you want to buy a phone that is really good with AI, then get a Pixel, because like that's the AI phone, right? So anyways, so here's what. All right, so we got the more durable screen. I have a few things to think about that. They say it's even more durable. To be quite honest with you, how many of you guys put a case on your phone? Right? How many of you guys toss a case on the second you get a phone, a case and a screen protector? Because in my opinion, you should be doing that the second you get a phone. And the reason why is because these things cost so much fucking money that they can break. And when they break, you're kind of screwed for repair. No case. Dude, you're crazy. I'm sorry, you're crazy. I have a case and a screen protector on my phone all the time because, like, if I break it, and I have broken phones a couple times when I was younger, it's such a pain in the fucking ass to repair. Never raw talk a phone. I do, but I wish I could. I do. I'll talk about Apple Care, actually, because I have something to say about that. And it's a really fucking stupid story that I have currently. Alright. It's OnePlus 13, so repair... $900 to repair your fucking... Jesus, yeah. Get a screen protector on that thing, man. Holy fuck. 900 is crazy. Dude. Fuck. Also, Link Farm, why'd you buy OnePlus and not nothing? I'm curious. Not trying to shame you or anything. I don't shame people for making choices on what they buy. But why choose a OnePlus over like nothing, Pixel, anything, like all of those other devices? I'm just wondering. Anyways, the app about the cameras, like, why like, I know the iPhone, I guess, is really what's the word? Revered for its cameras. I personally like the cameras on the iPhone. They're great, right? But like, why do they always highlight the cameras nowadays? I don't get it. I don't think people are using, like, professionals are using iPhones. I guess like content creators use iPhones, especially in things like TikTok and shorts and things like that. They just record from their iPhone or mobile phone in general. Everything really, no American brand drama. It's just a good phone. Fair enough. Yeah. Like, the thing with America is that everyone in college, I should know, I've been in college for years, but everybody has an Apple device in college. Like, if you don't have an iPhone, you just get memed on for the most part. I mean, I used to have an Android phone, but it kept breaking on me. Especially, like, my old apartment, it used to have, like, this keyless entry system, and it used an app, right? And that app just would not let me in on the Android side. It was very buggy. And then the second I got an iPhone, it just worked. So I guess in America, at least, iPhone is like a really, really optimized platform because more Americans buy it. But I know in the rest of the world, more people buy Android devices. I think in Japan too, iPhone is very popular. I think it's like a de facto thing. So yeah, it has all the features everyone else advertises but without the app. Yeah, exactly. Like, Android phones are very fragmented. And I know the Google, and I don't know if you were here last stream, Link Farm. Actually, no, 2 streams ago. But I talked about the sideloading changes that Google was pushing, and I mean, what you could do to push around with it. You could check GSM Arena. Maybe I'll check it after we finish talking about the phones. But yeah. I was just curious as to why a OnePlus was the choice, because I know they had like some drama of being bought out by Oppo, and now Carl Pei is the CEO of Nothing, and they're releasing stuff now, like what OnePlus is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyways, so camera shit. I'm not gonna really talk much about that. Battery life again. They always say all day battery life. They've been saying that for the past few years. I mean, it does have really good battery life. Since my iPhone 13, it's been really fucking good. Oh, great. iPhone 13. 15% faster. 2.1 times faster. 11 more hours. How do we know that? I don't fucking know. Apple figured it out. I remember they had like that, I remember they had that M1 chip benchmark thing where they had like those really weird curves. Like one curve is going in one direction, the other one was going in the other direction. They're just like, oh, it's better by this margin. We never knew what the fuck the margin was. I mean, the M1 chip was better than the chips at the time, but like, that was like the shittiest way of presenting it possible. I remember when they compared, yeah, they compared to a fucking 3090, dude. Oh my god. Listen, the Apple chips are a fucking marvel of engineering. I love my MacBook. It's amazing. It's better, yeah, it's really good. It's a really good chip. But at the same time, it's not going to be better than a 39. It's not going to be better than a dedicated GPU from Nvidia or even AMD, bro. Like, come on, man. You gotta be realistic here. Maybe in some aspects it's better, like for video encoding and things like that, because, you know, it doesn't break a sweat. That's the main thing about the M series chips, is that, you know, they focus more on having a good experience for the user. I have really good battery life on my MacBook. It doesn't get hot at all, and it's a really nice OS. I like Mac OS. Great. So yeah, that's what I personally think. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Macs and Mac OS in general. It's up to you. Linux isn't really an option ever since Aussie. Linux kind of fell off high key because of all that drama that happened with the Rust and the Linux kernel. But yeah, welcome to open source. Drama is everywhere. But yeah, if you want a Mac, I recommend like getting one as your laptop, because like it's gonna last you a long time. I know my friend Stux built a framework laptop earlier, and it was pretty nice. So yeah, Apple Intelligence, yada yada yada, satellite phones. Okay, so let's look at the price of this phone. Then I'm gonna give my opinion on it. All right, so it costs $800. Okay, that's pretty much what it is, right? That's how much you pay for an iPhone nowadays. Kind of wish Qualcomm and MS didn't flop on the Snapdragon Elite. Man, yeah, I think they flopped on the Elite release because they started pushing Copilot so hard, and then the entire Microsoft recall controversy came along, and then they're just like, and it just like killed the momentum in my opinion, because like, yeah, flop meaning like it's not really in the public eye as like, oh, this is a big competitor. I think that's what this person is saying. That's what I also agree with Zero X, because I think the Snapdragon Elite was just like there, and now it's not there. I feel like it'll be improved upon for sure, because ARM definitely is the way forward in my opinion. Like it's much better than x86. It's just that more applications need to support it. But yeah, like the Apple, I think, worked way too long on the M series chip. I think the rumors started like in 2011 when they were working on it, that it's going to take some time to catch up for sure. And of course, Apple's not going to sell their secrets. So. yeah, laptop. The excellent. See, it flopped so hard that even Link Farm just didn't know they existed. yeah, the laptop ones. But I feel like it was just a perfect storm of like, is the iPhone Air worth it? I'm gonna get to it. Have the prices changed last year due to tariffs? No, everything's the same price, Nine. Everything is the same price. It's $799, same as last year. Doesn't look like anything has changed due to, you know, political climates. But yeah. So let's go over the new stuff in the iPhone. The big thing is the 120 hertz display. In my opinion, this is like the best addition to the classic one, or like the non-pro version, because I feel like the pro version was the only reason the 120 hertz display was like one of the only reasons I bought the pro version. It's not, I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know. The Pro version is just has all the cameras, has all that stuff, but like I don't know. I use a 90 hertz display with Android phones, and it was really nice. When I went back to 60 hertz, it has like this little flicker thing that your eyes have to get used to. I don't like it at all, so I just said fuck it. I'm gonna buy the 13 Pro, and it had the 120 hertz display. How does the consistent pricing affect Apple's margins? Apple is rich as shit. I think they'll be fine. Apple and let's talk about this now, actually. So, oh shit. Apple has moved on, right? From the 2010s, where there was a lot of innovation in hardware. Right, so they were making new phones, they were adding new radical designs, everything was changing, every single phone iteration, it was cool, crazy, right? Everybody thought like, oh, what's the next iPhone gonna look like? There's gonna be some new crazy-ass design. I remember like there was this employee that got fired because the iPhone 10 got leaked like super early from the release from some Apple employee's kid. I mean, that kid is really fucking stupid, but yeah. So hardware innovation was the primary thing in the 2010s. Then Apple realized that the hardware isn't really that profitable. So they moved on to now, so 2020s, about then, which applies more to software, plus incremental updates. Right, so something like Apple Care, iCloud, taxing devs, they're 30% on IAPs. I know most app devs know this. I don't like the Pro camera design. It looks clunky. Feel like they could make this phone the same depth and add extra. Yeah, I agree. But I'll talk about the Pro in a second. So basically, Apple, just like Amazon nowadays, is making more of their profits through the software as opposed to the hardware. So they sell the hardware. They could sell the hardware at a loss, but people will buy the software. And that's the reason why they can, you know, eat whatever the hell comes into play when it comes to import taxes and whatever. That's what I think, at least. If you guys think different, let me know. But again, I don't want to get into any politics or anything like that, so just keep it, you know, economics focused. Thanks. Okay. At least we're not paying for this. Yeah, dude. I've said this before, but iOS development, for those who are part of the uninitiated, you need a MacBook. Will I get banned if I violently abuse? Please do it outside of the stream. I know you guys are in a voice call right now because you guys are doing that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, you need a Mac to develop for iOS. And you need Xcode on a Mac. Up and over. No, I'm not doing that right now. Up. But yeah, you need a Mac for developing anything iOS related and iPhone related. And it costs, basically getting into iOS development costs like $1,000 because you need to get a MacBook. Or cheaper if you get a used one, but yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. And now let's get to Link Farm's original question. So I'll talk about the questions in chat and the thoughts chat for a second, but let's get to Link Farm's original question. You can rent one in AWS, which is still 8. Yeah, you can rent a Cloud Mac. I remember that. Apple innovation stagnating, all they got is the culture. Yeah, so what I said before, right? So they are not innovating anymore on the hardware because they know that, you know, you're gonna pay for the software anyways at some point. So they're gonna make more money off of you through the software, through all the IAPs that you use, and by taxing all the developers. So that's just better for them. And Apple, nowadays, iPhones are more so just, you know, you get like an old iPhone. Say you have an iPhone 12. Right? This is like the beginning of the redesign for Apple. And they just keep incrementally updating until you get to a point, to the iPhone 17, for example, and enough stuff has built up between the 13, 14, 15, and 16 for it to be justifiable to buy a new iPhone. That justification depends on the person, obviously. Am I going to use this iPhone for my entire life? Or am I going to just, you know, buy a new iPhone after like 5 or 6 years and pay Apple for like their subscription fees? If you get what I'm saying. really more or less shifted to longevity versus here's a new phone that looks cool, you should buy it. Because again, that's how they can make these phones super expensive, because it makes you think this is an investment that you're paying for about 5 to 7 years. So let's just say like, let's just say like you own a phone for 4 years. 1,000 over 4 is $250 over the 4 years that you own the phone. So that's just the math. And if you own it for even longer, so like 7 years, for example, it just gets less than $250. I don't want to do the math. I'm fucking lazy. Fuck you. But yeah, and again, 7 years is like the max that an iPhone can last. I know the iPhone 7 lasted, the iPhone 10s, 10R lasted until last year with iOS 18. I think the 11 is the last for 26. I don't remember for sure, but yeah, Apple has really focused on longevity for its phones, and it's paid off. I know Qualcomm and Android are focusing on it, but like, we're gonna have to see by like 2030 if the Pixel 8 is still supported by Google, because like that's the promise that they made. The Pixel 8 is only 2 years old, and it's already showing faltering signs. So yeah, I know, and we also have an ad in a minute. So for you guys that are not subscribed or need an ad block, just type in the command. But yeah, that's what I think. I'm surprised my 7 Pro is still supported. Yeah, your Pixel, it is. Yeah, I mean, I was there back in the day when it used to be, 3 years of support for a phone and you had to upgrade. Fuck, it wasn't even 3 years, it was 2 years sometimes. It was ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I feel like focusing on longevity on software is way better because A, software isn't taxable. You can't tax on software for the most part, unless there's like some sales tax or something, but that's a different thing. And B, it allows people to use the phone more. Is the same power and efficiency as Snapdragon 888. Oh, yeah, the Pixel phones are underpowered. That is a known fact at this point. I remember I think the new Tensor chip is also pretty underperforming. Pixel update DLC. Yeah, they did like those feature drops that started the Pixel 4. Also, we got an ad starting in a few seconds, so again, I'll just keep yapping about this, but until the ad's over, all right? Just for you guys. Pixel update DLC is kind of crazy. They have this weird system where they do these quote-unquote feature drops, where they drop new features through the software. Like say a Pixel 4 comes out with call screening, right? And then they send out this feature drop that comes through the Google Play services, and it gets call screening from the Pixel 4, and it ports it over to the Pixel 2 or Pixel 1. So that's where it comes from. And yeah, that's essentially what a feature drop is. It's different from like an OS update, which is weird, but sure, whatever. All right, but anyways, so if I was to buy an iPhone today, let's save that for later. I mean, you probably know what I'm gonna say, but the 120 hertz screen on the iPhone 17 is a big thing for me. And I guess since Link Farm is here, let's talk about the MTP versus USB 2.0. All right, so Link Farm asked in Discord, very politely, I might add, why does MTP not work? MTP not work. Yes. I'm calling you out, bro. It's in a good way, obviously. I'm just addressing your question. Multi-to... I thought you were talking about the fucking media transfer Bro. I'm... Multi-token prediction. Okay, then. That I don't think is relevant to this stream. Oh, fuck. Because we were in the context of phones, and I was thinking MTP as, like, media transport protocol on Android. So, I'll go over it, I guess, because it's relevant to the stream. But MTP stands for Media Transfer Protocol. Whenever you connect your Android phone to a PC, it uses MTP. But the problem is, on and PC is good. Right? It's very useful. It's very easy to work with. But the problem comes around when you use a Mac. When you use a MacBook with an Android phone, it sucks. It sucks a lot because you have to install a software called, yeah, used to install Android file transfer, right? And now you have to install OpenMTP. And I swear to God, these pieces of software don't work half the time. Like, you have to restart your Mac for it to work properly sometimes. It's just really annoying. I use it to transfer files from my Switch, like my hacked Switch to... Don't tell Nintendo I hacked my Switch. But my hacked Switch to my computer, when I'm away, I have to use my Mac. And sometimes OpenMTP just refuses to work until I restart my computer. It's really fucking annoying. So yeah. But speaking of link farms, you know, totally real and true MTP question. The iPhone 17 and the base iPhones really have USB 2.0 speeds. Despite having, if I can find it, despite having like USB-C, you know? If this will load, I don't fucking know. Yeah, here we go. So it has a USB-C, but it doesn't have USB 3.0. It transfers at USB 2 because the majority of people who use an iPhone transfer utilizing something like AirDrop, for example, or wireless file transfer, some sort of cloud transfer. So that's where USB 2.0 comes in, because most people aren't transferring anything via their cable on an iPhone. Sucks, but like that's how it works. On the Pro, however, you get USB 3.0 speeds. I don't know if they made a Thunderbolt now, but I really doubt they did. That's on the iPads, but the Pro models have USB 3. So if that's a thing that you ever consider when buying an iPhone, like how fast the cable transfer speed is, because that's very important, especially for taking photos off your phone. Or sorry, like really big video files off your phone for like creators and things like that. If you're recording in like raw ProRes or raw file formats, which almost nobody is doing, by the way, let's be real about that. USB 3.0 speed's probably something you should be working with, but yeah, the chip just does not support USB 3, which sucks. I mean, I think every fucking phone should support at least USB 3, considering it's such an old standard, but Apple is Apple. They gotta differentiate the Pro somehow, you know? Anyways, you guys have any question about the 17 itself before I move on to the Pro? I know Nyan asked about a question before. But yeah, I can move on to the Pro. And then we can talk about the wild card in this lineup, which is the Air. Or actually, do you guys want to talk about the Air first? Because I don't mind talking about that too. Okay, let's go over the Pro then. Because this design... Fuck. Alright, I'm gonna look up a photo of the Pixel... What's the Pixel 10 look like? Let me see. No, I'll show you what it looks like. Just give me 1 second. This is the Pixel 10. So you can see they're taking a bit of, you know, they're taking a page out of Google's book here. With the new iPhone, the iPhone Pros. Kind of similar, no? Yeah, this hump is... I don't know. It looks pretty... It's fat as hell, man. This is massive. I don't know. Like, I feel like it meshes well with the design. It looks okay. But compared to the 16 Pro and all the other ones, I don't know. The camera bump was getting pretty unsightly. I think you guys could agree with me on that. Like, the camera bump is fucking massive on the Pro phones. I remember when we went from like the 12 to the 13, the Pro models, the camera bump just like doubled in size. Then we went from like the 13 to 15. I compared this with like the previous... I compared this with my friend, and the 15's camera bump got 2 times bigger than the 13's. So it's like, what the fuck, man? And I assume that, I guess Apple just had enough, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna make the entire camera bump just part of the phone now. And we're just gonna call it like something stupid. Like Dynamic Island, how they call it. Yeah, I know what they call it. They call it the plateau. They call it the fucking camera plateau. Bro, why do they name these in such these weird ways, bro? The camera plateau. Come on, man. Yeah, you guys call it the bar. I think of it as a hump or a bar or something. This just looks kind of ugly, but I think a case will cover it up in the end. The thing is, these cases are going to be thicker, because, like, yeah, of course they're going to be thicker. Can I see a 3D rendering or not? Are they too embarrassed to show the 3D rendering? I can't even turn this. Where's the 3D? There was one on the other one. What the fuck? Yo, there's actually no 3D model here. It's actually crazy. Am I blind? GSM Arena has 3D renders? Okay, so 3D render iPhone 17 Pro GSM Arena. Let's see. Let's see. 3D models of the iPhone 17. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait, this is the 17 itself. Where's the Pro? That's the Air. Here's the Pro. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Okay, that's not that bad. I mean, I think in real life it'll look much different, but I think this does solve. I think it's less protruding than the current camera bumps because they're probably distributing the camera hardware in a much wider space, which makes the overall profile slimmer. So, I mean, and also if you use a phone with no case like Num on here, it won't like start flapping around on the table when you put it down. It'll just be straight, like in a little incline. I mean, flat is obviously better, but this is better than, you know, it flopping around, so that's good. At least. I mean, I'm just thinking about the silver lining and positives here. I'm like mid 50-50 on this design personally, but yeah, I mean, I think some of you guys are like, bro, what the fuck is this? And I agree with your thought process on that. All right, so the colors, they got this Pops creamsicle looking orange, this midnight, which is probably what I'd like. This deep blue, sorry, and silver. I think the deep blue is the best color, personally. I have the Sierra blue iPhone 13 Pro. It's a really nice color. I like the baby blue on the phone. Then they have, okay, yeah. One thing that they did is they got rid of the surgical grade stainless steel, and then they got rid of the titanium frame on the Pro, and they're using aluminum now, again, because of apparently the chip on this device is so fucking powerful that it needs a fat ass cooling system to cool it. So the aluminum chassis is used for cooling along with this giant ass vapor chamber. I think a lot of phones nowadays have a huge vapor chamber as well, right? I know Samsung has them by default, and Android phones have had them for ages. I think Apple was just adding this for like the first time or something. So they're like, oh, it's a vapor chamber, it's new innovation. It's existed for years. To be completely honest though, Android and Apple phones are just taking from each other at this point. I don't really care. Immersive Pro display. I guess since they don't have like the 120 hertz angle anymore, they're trying to make it seem like the Pro display is better, when in reality it's just like, yeah, it's literally just the fucking same thing. Maybe it's just a better display in terms of quality, but I don't really see a need for buying the Pro for just the display alone. Camera control. This button is cool. Like, I know Apple focuses a lot on the cameras. Same LG panel. Exactly, right? It's the same panel from either Samsung or LG. One of the two. And it's just gonna be brighter. Yeah, like... I wonder if you could just, like, buy an aftermarket panel, serialize it with, like, JTAG or something. I know you can do that for, like, third-party repair shops. And then just, like, you know, say fuck it, and then just shove that in there, and you'll get, like, a Pro phone, technically. I don't know. I know you can't get that from Apple, but you could probably, like, do a shitty mod of your iPhone. Don't do this. I'm not advising you to do this, by the way. Try not to break your phone unless you're some sort of tinkerer. I mean, I personally am, but I'm way too old to be breaking... I'm way too old and busy to be breaking phones nowadays. That's why I got an iPhone. The action button replaced the mute switch. I mean, honestly, I think people just mute their phone all the time nowadays, especially younger populations like myself. So I think getting rid of the mute switch was a good idea, unpopular opinion, because you're going to keep it on software mute anyways, and you can also map it to have a mute. So yeah. Cameras, a big zoom forward. Okay. Also, one thing I noticed about the 17 versus the 17 Pro, it doesn't have that LiDAR scanner. So I guess if you're using anything that requires that highly precise AR, you need that LiDAR scanner, and you should probably get a Pro, or you could just get like an iPad Pro or something and just do that instead. The longest iPhone telephoto. I'm not about to take photos of the moon or something, alright? So, cool. I can take a telephoto from fucking God knows how far. Sure. And they talk about the cameras. Oh, they talk about the telephoto itself. And the macro cam. Damn, that's a good macro camera. Jesus. I don't know, the iPhone macro cameras are pretty fucking good, though. Even though they're really annoying when they auto-switch, they're pretty good. Okay, more camera bullshit. Oh, yeah, that's the one thing I forgot to talk about. The center stage camera, that's right. I don't know if it's me, but I fucking hate center stage. I hate it on my Mac specifically, because whenever it tries to capture me with... It just captures everything completely zoomed in. So center stage just, like, makes it so annoying. Especially when on Zoom or non-FaceTime calls. Because it just starts moving around everywhere, like, really stupidly. So I just turn it off, and it's really hard to do so. I guess on a phone it's nice for if you're using FaceTime, and on an iPad it's really nice. But other than that, like, yeah, no, center stage sucks. Pro video, wow, you could use ProRes, and this is why it has the USB 3 like I previously said. Performance, yada yada yada. High battery life, great. Up to 33 hours. I wonder how long that's gonna last, by the way, considering, like, these battery tests I don't think are ever accurate, because take these battery tests and set them back by, like, a few hours, and that's probably the realistic battery life you'll get. And then even after that, you're gonna start seeing the battery degrade over time as you use your phone. So it's just gonna get worse and worse as you go along, and you're gonna have to get a battery replacement sometime in the lifespan of your phone. And they don't specify... Yeah, they don't specify, like, the video itself. I would not assume it's this, right? This is probably an H2... This is probably an HLS stream, right? And probably the codec... Actually, no, sorry. The codec is... I mean, Google uses VP9. I know this is not AV1 for sure, because AV1 is like some freaking tech bro hype thing. Not really used in actual practice. I think it's like H264 HLS streaming, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure what the normal codec is. Like, what you're seeing on Twitch, that is. I know I'm streaming in H264 right now, so I'd assume it's that. Well, who knows? It could be something else. I don't fucking know. Yada yada yada. H264. Okay, thank you. That helps. Okay, worth the upgrade? Fuck no. Alright. Oh, I want to talk about these fucking straps, bro. God, I have so much to say about these. They also made this case, which looks pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. I like... If you're looking for a starter case, this is pretty good. And it also hides that camera bump nicely, so I vibe with it. Okay, anyways. Let's see how much this costs. Pre-order. How much does this guy cost? Oh my god. Actually, wait, no. That's... Actually, wait, hold on. So, $1099. So that's $1,100. Okay, so the iPhone 13 Pro used to be $1,000. Now they bumped it to $1,100, and the Pro Max is $1,200. Okay, so they bumped the price up by $100. I see. All right. Yeah, this is a little too expensive for most people's blood. I feel like most people would be getting this phone on a contract, right? So they'd be, you know, paying for it through like their carrier or something. Again, I never recommend buying a carrier phone because like they always do shit where they lock the phone or they put apps on there that you can't remove for Android phones, right? For an iPhone, I think you can't do that. You have to like sell it just like as a normal phone, except it can only be used on that carrier. That's what I remember. So that's why carrier iPhones are fine. Facebook, dude, not just Facebook. If you buy a phone from like Verizon, AT&T, they install like their messenger apps and like their phone plan lookup apps. You can't fucking remove them. It is so annoying. I know Samsung phones come with a shitload of bloatware too, so it's terrible. But yeah. So $1,200. So let's compare these two phones, okay? And I'll go over the last one afterwards. Let's compare the 17 and the 17 Pro, because that's most likely what people are gonna buy. So the 17 is $800, right? So you have $800. Let me actually open up the VS Code window here. Oops. So you got the 17. Jesus, let me shrink you. All right. Damn you, VS Code. Why are you so fat? All right. Put my iPad down. Okay, so we have the 17. 17 is $800. Not $799, whatever they like to call it. $799, my ass, bro. They like to put, like, I know in those like infomercials they like say 1999, $20, bro. Shut up. So 17 is $800. The 17 Pro is $1,100, and this is in US, by the way. So it'll be more expensive in Canadian rubles or less expensive, maybe in Europe. I don't know, but yeah. So 800 versus 1,100. The only advantages you're getting in the 17 Pro are the cameras, USB 3.0, and also LiDAR. Cameras, USB 3, LiDAR. What else? Better screen. And then the better battery. Like, better everything, in quotes. So this is realistically all you're getting with the Pro model of this phone. I think the 17, if you're buying a new iPhone, just out of the 17 and 17 Pro, I recommend the 17. That's what I'd buy, personally. Right? Because the 17, the only defining factor for me was that 120 hertz display. So a 120 hertz display is on the 17. You have a good battery. You have good cameras. You have USB. They both have USB-C, right? You have some sort of USB file transfer. And you have iOS, right? It's pretty nice. And then there's also the 16E. And I'll go on the Apple website real quick to show you guys what that is. I think you guys might know what the 16E is already, but just to give a refresher. The 16E is $600. So if you want to go cheaper and have a much bigger investment, a smaller investment, sorry, you get the 16E. It's a 60 hertz display, cheaping out on pretty much everything. Still a good battery and less of a camera. Right, so the 16E is a good price for, you know, a phone. If someone just wants a phone and doesn't really use the camera, just uses apps just for the sake of using them, doesn't really need a high-powered CPU, there you go. 16E is probably your best bet. I know a friend who has a 16E. He's chill, and he likes it. No complaints from him. So $600. Okay. So, again, if I was to buy an iPhone now, I'd buy, like, the standard model. The 17 or the 18 or the 19 or whatever the heck it's gonna be. So that's what I'd buy. Now, let's go over the wild card. The one that all of you guys have probably been waiting for people's opinion about. The iPhone Air. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's supposed to be a thin iPhone. This is a very interesting phone because there's a few things that I think is happening, and not just me, a few other people do. So it's supposed to be a thin and light phone, and it's supposed to have, you know, all of the components of the Pro model. Well, most of the components of the Pro model. I'll talk about that in a second. 0x, just give me 1 second. Supposedly all the Pro specs will be inside of this case with, you know, just one camera. And yes, there is a small eyesore here. I know you guys really like that camera bump, right? Oh my fucking god. Yeah, so that's something that you probably should think about here. The camera bump is definitely a problem. So yeah, the iPhone Air isn't really quote-unquote thin, right? It's just thin for like the aluminum, the titanium part. Sorry, this is titanium, by the way. The titanium part is thin. The camera bump is not thin. So let's get rid of the marketing bullshit here. But what is cool is that Apple, where do I find it? Oh, for fuck's sake, I scrolled this page like 50 times. Where did they put you? No. Oh, I can talk about it, but I'm gonna keep scrolling through this. So they put all of the, oh, here we go. Yeah, they put all of the important components inside this camera bump, which is pretty cool, right? So they were able to fit everything inside the camera area. I don't know, that's fucking sick. And this back part is mostly just battery. I guess we'll have to see from when teardowns come out, and I'll probably make a follow-up once those do happen. I'll watch the iFixit one when it shows up. But dude, that is pretty cool, right? Like they shoved all of the parts to that tiny place. It's like what most people think about like the Vision Pro, for example, you know, how it costs like $3 grand and nobody's really gonna fucking buy it. It's more so just like an experimental product just to test the waters and see like how far Apple can push things, and they just release it. This is an innovative product in that sense, right? Because they were able to shove all of the components in that one area. If there will be heat issues, well, we'll see, right? I mean, let's think about it for a second. All of the heat that people usually feel comes from holding the back of the phone. The camera is a place where people just almost never touch. So if there's a lot of heat being generated there, A, it's away from the battery, right? So you're not going to impact the battery as much with that heat distribution. And B, it's in a place that people won't really touch as much. So they're not going to have as much of a problem with heat. That's my theoretical opinion, obviously, but at least where I see things, the plateau is going to be and I'm calling it the plateau just to respect Apple's naming, the bump, the hump, whatever the fuck it's called, is going to be the main place where all the heat's going to gather for the most part. It's going to be dissipated across the titanium frame. It's probably why they use titanium, right? But it has most of the features in the iPhone Pro. Sorry. Okay, as for cameras, they don't have the telephoto or the macro camera, but they included like a bunch of those lenses in here. Or they include a bunch of those features in here, so you're not really missing too much. That's why they have like the Pro stuff as marketing. It also has center stage, which is cool. Again, center stage is like a 50-50 from me. Performance, battery life, fucking cares. Same stuff as before. Like, it's just the iPhone Air. I think one of the people in one of my Discords said that it doesn't have a charger. I mean, it really doesn't look like it would have a charger, but it does. It has a very small Type-C port. I'm just saying. So, yeah. I mean, I feel like Apple will eventually make a phone. I feel like if Apple wasn't mandated to have a Type-C port by the EU, they wouldn't put a charger at all. And they just ask people to use MagSafe, because, like... that's my conjecture for the future, right? No ports, MagSafe only, everybody uses AirPods, that's it. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of backlash. And the moment that Apple does that, I'm getting an Android phone, because I use wired headphones, so... USB-C only up. Yeah, right? I mean, I'd buy a Pro if that was the case. I mean, I don't mind per se. It sucks, but I like iPhones because they work. I'd hate it too. I think everyone would. I feel like that's why Apple just isn't doing it. Also, like the new USB-C mandate is going to prevent them from doing it. Probably it's a really easy thing to add, and all of their devices have USB-C anyway. So it's like, why the fuck would you do it? And yeah, so let's take a look at the prices here. Let's see. Okay, so now here's the $1,000 gap. So the question becomes, would I pay $1 grand for this phone? No. Fuck no. I'm not paying $1,000 for this. I know Morhi talked about like, oh, what's your thoughts on the Air? It's a cool design, it's innovative, but it's like the Vision Pro, right? Who the fuck is gonna want to buy this when they could just buy the normal iPhone 17 or the 17 Pro for like $100 more? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, unless you like want a phone with the camera bump. And here's what the case is gonna look like. So let me just show you guys on my iPad here. Here's what the case is gonna look like for the iPhone Air. So you have this very small rectangle, and you have this bump here. This is what it looks like. The case is just going to be like this. Oh, sorry, not just like that. It's gonna be like this. So it's essentially going to get rid of the Air part of the iPhone Air. Like, you gotta protect everything, right? So that's the problem here. Like, what the fuck? It's like the fold phones, right? For a case, you can't really have one for the folding phones because it's a screen everywhere. For this one, the case is gonna be fat, so it's gonna remove the thought process of having an iPhone Air. Come on, man. Like, do you guys agree what I'm saying here? I mean, I know ZeroX said, like, think about the cases. What will those look like? And that is what it'll look like. So, yeah. Like, experimentally, and you lose the battery life that comes with a bigger... Yes, you do too. Yeah. So for $100 more, you also get the better battery. Let me see what the milliamp hours are on this. MAH of iPhone Air. Let's see. What is the battery capacity? So the iPhone Air... Yeah, you're right. So 3.1 milliamp hours, 3.6 milliamp... Wow. Okay. So these battery capacities have gone up a lot from my iPhone 13. My iPhone 13 is like 22,000 something milliamp hours. I was gonna say, like, iPhones tend to have smaller batteries because the OS is super efficient, but it looks like they're having bigger batteries now, which is really interesting because Android, this is in the territory of Android devices in terms of battery life. So is it because of the new OS and the UI design that's gonna make the battery drain faster? I don't think so. I mean, my battery on my phone right now isn't draining that quickly. But yeah, I guess it's just to push the thought of bigger battery life, and that's another reason why they're probably pricing it more. But yeah, so let's write this down in our VS Code sheet here. So we got the 17 Air. Chip probably, yeah, also the chip, yeah, that's also true. 17 Air, so lighter. It's definitely a lighter phone, that's for sure. Thinner, in quotes, minus camera, minus the plateau. Le plateau, everyone likes that. So it's lighter, it's thinner, small battery, smaller battery, right? Probably better heat dissipation. And by distribution, I mean, like, it won't hit you on your hand as opposed to other phones. And that's pretty much it. Like, think pros have bidirectional Qi charging? What is bidirectional Qi charging? Could you tell that? Oh, you mean like the one where it sends it back if you, like, say, like, you put your AirPods on top? Yeah, I think that has it too. Oh, pros also have... That's exclusive to the Pro? I'll put that down. Bidirectional MagSafe. Yeah. Okay, so I'll put that down as well as the Pro. So if you want a Pro to charge your AirPods from your iPhone, then you can get that too. Personally, I just use a Type-C cable. So the 17 Air, probably better heat distribution. And... yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if the Pro model probably has MagSafe. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, sorry, the Air model probably has MagSafe. I don't know if it's bidirectional. If it has, like, the Pro features, that probably does, but I wouldn't say that because I don't know. It's not apparent according to Apple's descriptions. So yeah, going back to... oh yeah, let's put the price as well. Alright, so let's order this from most to least in terms of price. Oh shit, don't do that. Okay, so in regards to what iPhone I'd buy if I was upgrading, I'd buy a 17. And the reason why is because all of these features from these newer phones... sorry, just go up the air. All these features from the newer phones just don't scream out like, hey, this is groundbreaking to me. The only thing that was groundbreaking for me, as I stated before, was the 120 hertz display. And now that that's on the normal iPhone, I don't really see a reason to buy a more expensive one now. I don't know if you guys agree, but that's my take on it. And if you don't really care about the 120 hertz, then just get the cheapest one on the market. Get the 16E. And maybe the 17E when it comes out as well. Because you don't really care too much about the camera, you don't care too much about the display, you don't care too much about the battery. Like, it's just a phone that you can use for doing all the Gen Z stuff on, like social media or manga or anime or watching videos and all that stuff. So that's what I believe for what you should buy if you are buying a new iPhone. Again, take a look at this chart, see what you think is good for you, obviously, but that's what I think. All right. So any more thoughts? 17 sounds like a good upgrade from there. I'm gonna wait too. Yeah, I'm not upgrading. I'm probably gonna upgrade once I'm done with med school, so I'll be like the iPhone 18 or 19. Actually, the 19, because I'll be out of med school and in residency in a couple years. So yeah. Yeah, the 13 is a really solid phone. And going back on Apple's innovation thing that I talked about, price comparison compared to last gen swap. Okay, let's see. Actually, the last gen is still being sold, by the way. So the 16 is still being sold. The only problem is that you don't have the 120 hertz display. So right now, the 16 itself is $699, right? So that's 700, and the 16 Plus is 800. So I don't know, like I'd recommend buying the 17 if you're, you know, yeah, 700 for 16, 800 for 16 Plus. 16 Plus again didn't sell well. I hope there'll be a foldable iPhone. That would be nice. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of foldable phones just because, you know, they have that crease, which looks kind of terrible. But I see why people like it. I'm just not a fan of it myself. But yeah, it would be nice for that option. The problem is it'll just cost a shitload of money, which most people don't have. And also, I think foldable phones have less longevity than standard phones. Can't have pocket stand with a foldable. That's true. Yeah. All right, let's look at the iPhone price on Swappa because 010X just asked me. So iPhone 16. Here we go. So the 16 Plus and the 16 are $474 and $539. That is pretty cheap. The 16E is $329 a use. So let's see. Oh. Wait, where is it? Oh, I have to state which one it was. So let's say it's any, I guess. Let's just check unlocked and see what happens. Okay, unlocked is $449. Yeah, unlocked is $449. If you're buying it for your normal phone, you should buy unlocked. But if you're buying it for like a junk phone, then buy a carrier. So if you buy a carrier phone, you can see that it can come in good and mint condition for like $470. Look at the unlocked listings. So we look at mint, this is $457. So yeah, it is definitely cheaper than the iPhone website, and it's also mint condition, so that's pretty nice. For the 16E, by the way. For just the 16, let's see how much it costs for unlocked. Okay, it's not unlocked, fair, any fair listings are shit. Mint, here we go. So Verizon mint, T-Mobile mint, pretty good. 625, 629. So it's around the price for a new 16 for like a mint condition. I feel like it's more worth it to just buy from Apple for like a 16. For 16E though, you should probably buy from Swappa because like you'll get a mint phone for much cheaper. So yeah. Also, we're going into another ad break. Sorry guys. But I will talk about my Apple Care story once the ad break is over because you guys are gonna like my... I did an experiment with Apple Care for my iPhone 13. Yeah, exactly. Get it from Apple. For sure, for sure. Okay. So yeah. $700. Yeah, it's just like a smaller premium to get like a brand new phone. That's fine. But yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I mean, I like Apple events. They're always interesting to see because they always drop these things, you know, just randomly. Out. I mean, we know when they are, but they always drop them at a specific time. It's like, oh, what'd they do this year? What's the price? Oh, Apple refurb. That's a good question. Let me look it up. Apple refurb. Let's see. So iPhone. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, no, that's a little too expensive for my blood. Refreshed iPhone 14 is $849. What? That can't be right. Yeah, no, refurb on Apple side is definitely not worth it for an iPhone. Fuck me, dude. I think it's because people mainly just sell them on third parties. Let's see what a Mac looks like. Okay, yeah, this makes more sense, right? Like, the Mac Mini right now is $1,000. You pay $500 for it. That makes a lot more sense. Dude, but a fucking... Oh my god. Really? Like, an iPhone costs $800, an iPhone 14? Oh, here we go. iPhone 15 is $529. Okay. I can't click any other type of phone. That's weird, but... Sure. See, so the iPad Air... I feel like refurbished is better with the Macs, honestly. I think when if you try and get an iPhone refurbished, you're kind of getting scammed. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's crazy how there's no refurbished Vision Pro, though. Yo, where the hell is, like, the $1,000 refurbished Vision Pro ad, bro? Oh, God. But yeah, the Mac event is happening next year, which is pretty sweet, right? I mean, I know sorry, not next year, next month. Okay, thank you, bot, for telling me the ad break is done, but I'm personally excited for the new Macs. They're gonna look cool. Like, the M5 should be interesting when it releases. But yeah, I know MacBooks usually go over like a bunch of designs. The M1 redesign was really good. They're just carrying the same thing over for the new ones. But let's go back to the iPhone. Actually, yeah, I want to talk about AppleCare. That's right. Are you guys back from the ad break? You guys there? Because I'll tell you guys about my story / experiment with AppleCare. You are? Okay, sweet. All right. Oh yeah, I got some new toggles on Monami, but I didn't set them because I'm a fucking lazy ass. So yeah. Okay. So let's talk about my story with AppleCare. So if you guys don't know, AppleCare has two options, right? Actually, oh wait, let's restart here. Let me actually try and order an iPhone here, and then I'll show you guys what AppleCare looks like from there. Let's do it for the iPhone Air. And then is AppleCare here? Let's see how much it costs. So $9.99, whatever. Give me black, 256. Also, 256 gigabytes by default is pretty sweet. Like, I have 128 on my 13 Pro, and it's pretty nice that's 256. No trade-in, whatever. Buy, carrier, whatever. Okay, here we go. So, AppleCare 1, no AppleCare coverage. Okay, so this gives you a limited warranty. Got it. Okay, so let's talk about AppleCare. All right, here's my main story with AppleCare. So you either can get one of three things, right? You could get the 256 is great because I still have 8 gigs of space. The rest of my yeah, it's really good. But let's talk about AppleCare. Okay, so what you can get with AppleCare, you gotta get the 2 years of limited warranty. So this covers your phone, computer, whatever for 2 years. Then you get the AppleCare Plus. And this is, for what I pay, it's $10 a month. And then there's also AppleCare 1, which is new. And also right now this is $14 a month. Now AppleCare 1 costs $20 a month. Okay, hopefully you guys understand that so far. So we have all of these different price tiers. This is what I'm paying for my 13. Now the question becomes, how does AppleCare help you? Well, AppleCare helps you by decreasing the price for repair. Really, for repair or a loss. Usually, they can either upgrade you if the phone is old enough, or they'll repair it for cheaper. So this will be like the screen, the battery, whatever. So in my case, I just got in the 4 years, I owned it in 2021, so 4 years, I've owned an iPhone 13. I've only got the following repairs. Battery replacement. That's the only repair that I got on my iPhone 13. And that was only when the battery dropped into that 70% zone where it says get a repair ASAP. It was free, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll get it. But the question is, was this really free? You know what they say in the world, right? Nothing is ever free. And that is very true in this case. Because while you do get your battery replacement for free, what I essentially paid for AppleCare, let's say there's 12 months in a year, right? And it's 4 years. So that's 48 months, if we do some math, approximately. So 48 months later, I pay $10 a month. We're gonna multiply that by 48, and we're gonna get $480 for just a battery replacement. And on Apple's site, a normal battery replacement price is like $60. That basically means you have no coverage, nothing. So you just pay $60 to get your battery replaced. So the question then becomes, I literally paid $480 for purely just a battery replacement. Even the screen replacement is like, it's probably like, what, $320, right? Let's look up the Apple quote here. How much does it cost to repair an iPhone screen Apple? Let's see. Apple screen repair. Here we go. Cost estimate. Beautiful. So there's a cost estimate tool on Apple's website. Let's take a look at that. So product, let's say I have an iPhone 13. Model is the Pro. And let's get an estimate. So it's going to cost $279 to repair the screen just by itself. And then it's going to cost $29 if I have an Apple Care plan. Right, so it's going to cost money on top of the existing $480 I paid Apple Care over the past 4 years for nothing. It's literally just phone insurance. Now, your phone isn't like your body, right? Doesn't really need insurance. Because with the limited 2-year warranty, which is Apple Care for 2 years, technically, you get all of that stuff for 2 years. If you break your screen, you will probably pay less, I believe, I haven't done it myself, for the screen, because you're under that limited warranty. So, in my opinion, if you protect your phone well, do you have a case? Do you put a screen protector on your phone? Do you not throw your phone off a fucking building? Then what is the point of Apple Care? What's the point? There's no reason to buy it. In my case, I actually canceled my Apple Care. Because if I break my phone, right? If I end up breaking my 13, I'm just gonna buy a new phone. Because, like, at that point, it's 4 years, right? It's, about that time that Apple's like, hey, you probably should upgrade at some point. It doesn't matter when. I'm planning on riding or dying this thing, but if, an act of God happens, then why not just buy a new phone and, only get the 2-year warranty on that? I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that Apple Care is just like some marketing. It's like an insurance thing, right? If you wear your phone with no case, like Naman, then you should it might be worth it to invest in Apple Care, right? But if you are, properly protecting your phone when you get it, like it's a proper investment, then in my opinion, no need. $480, exactly. I basically just evaporated $480 because the snake oil told me, hey, if you don't buy Apple Care, you're pretty much fucked for any form of repair. So yeah, that's pretty much it, right? So there's the math and my little quote-unquote experiment on Apple Care, because it's a pretty big one, right? Like, you need to understand that Apple makes money by talking about their subscriptions and selling them. So Apple Care is one of the subscriptions, and you're under pressure to get Apple Care because you have to get it within a certain time frame. So let's say this is when you buy the phone. You have, oh shit, and this is like 4 years later. So this is now. So I had about 2 months to decide, do I or do I not want Apple Care? And in this time period, I decided, yes, I'll buy Apple Care. And anytime when you cancel it, you can't get it back. Because this essentially prevents scamming for Apple, right? Because if you buy Apple Care and then you try and get your phone repaired, obviously it's a scam, right? So you buy it for a month and that's fucking stupid. So usually they have like a window as to when you can get Apple Care. And then we'll mark another halfway point, which is 2 years. And this is when the warranty expires. And again, 2 years is the duration of an old Android phone in terms of upgrading it. So, I don't know. Like, I feel like the Apple Care is kind of a scam if you, care about your phone a lot and use it and don't really have too much things to break it with. So yeah. And the best part is that the battery replacement was free, but at the same time, if you do the proper maintenance, exactly, right? You do the proper maintenance, you get a battery replacement because it's dying, and you don't need to do anything else. Phones are really solid devices, by the way. They're really fucking rock solid devices. It's pretty cool as to how durable they are nowadays. I remember Bendgate back in the iPhone 6 days. It's really changed since then. And also, one thing to note is that the iPhone Air, the thinness of the iPhone, someone actually compared this at the Apple event, it's as thin as the iPhone 7 or 6. So just to put your expectations there, so they're trying to make, minus the fucking camera bump, obviously, the titanium body is supposed to be as thin as the iPhone 7 or iPhone 6. So just so you can keep that in mind as to how thin you think it's going to be. It's not going to be like a wafer. All right, sounds good, Naman. See you later. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. I'll just keep yapping. All right, but yeah, that's the Apple event. So let me show you guys something on Twitter. Oh, that's the studio. Hold on. Let me go to Twitter here, and hopefully I don't see any gruesome videos. Bookmarks, stream, there we go. Okay. So this is a YouTuber called Forrest Knight. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He's pretty cool, makes a bunch of code stuff. But what's essentially happened here is he's made a couple of really nice theories on why Apple is making liquid glass in the way it is. To get us used to AR style UI. Now they make this to practice AR hardware. And I really think he has something going for him here. Don't you guys think that? Because if they're packaging everything into such a small form factor, like this is an entire iPhone in such a small chassis, minus the battery. So if they end up making AR glasses, it might, they're just going to keep shrinking this apparatus until they can fit it into that glasses form factor. It makes sense, right? Yeah. That's pretty cool to think about. And the liquid glass, like everything is encapsulated. It's nice little button, little bubble-like thing. So it's all just spread out like you would see on an AR UI or on the Vision Pro, for example, that you'd see on that UI. So I think that the liquid glass is, and this Air design are both experiments for AR. And I agree with Forrest here. I think he's right. Also, another thing, they're transparent OLED screens. Yeah, right. I feel like at some point, I know Apple embraced it and went for like the dynamic island, but I think I think the main thing that's going to happen in the future, maybe even further in the future, is that the under-screen cameras are going to become a thing. We still haven't perfected them, and I don't know why, because I remember the war on bezels really started with the iPhone 10, well, really the iPhone 10, but the Essential phone was the first one. The iPhone 10, when it released, it really put a whole wrench into the entire phone community, because now it's just like a race to get rid of as much bezel as possible. All the home buttons are gone. It's full gesture navigation now. I remember Android took like a full 2 years to properly upgrade to gesture navigation with Android 10 back in the day. So yeah. Also, another thing, since the EU really loves to regulate stuff, Apple Intelligence is banned in the EU due to its own regulations. So all the live translation features are no longer there. And just for the viewer's sake, the live translation is essentially two people are wearing AirPods, and one person speaking one language and the other person speaking the other language, and both are translated in real time on the AirPods themselves. So essentially you just have like a piece that is translating everything for you. And say like you're poor, you're a broke boy, and you don't got AirPods Pro. And again, this is AirPods Pro, not normal. Actually, no, wait, sorry. This is on normal AirPods, not just Pro. So this is on AirPods. And let's just say you're a broke boy, you don't got AirPods. The person can have the AirPods in their ear, speak into them, and then show the phone to you as it's fucking translating. Then the person can speak into the iPhone, so it's adding like, hey, here's a phone. Shit. AirPods live translation video. Let me look it up. It looks so stupid. Where the fuck is it, man? Oh, why the fuck am I daily motion? What the hell? Okay, let me open up a private window. Because I'm not sure what account I'm on, I just want to be safe. Is it bad since they have the mental images of a Wojak shyly holding up their phone with Apple Intelligence translation? Is that actually a thing, or is it something I just imagine? I want to. If it is actually a thing, please send me the picture either in Discord, Twitter, or here. I don't care. Something I imagine. Okay, it's probably gonna come up now. Okay, let's go to the. Okay, let me set the quality. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, it's all bit crunch. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm gonna show this. Let's just go to here, and then I'm just gonna add the window capture audio. If I can. Hello, thing. Oh, capture audio. Beautiful. All right. And I'm gonna lower the volume here.
And to help connect with those near you, we're bringing the magic of AirPods to the way you communicate across languages.
Wow.
Live translation powered by Apple Intelligence.
Okay.
Now, when you are together with someone who speaks a different language, like exploring a market abroad, AirPods Pro will help you understand them in your preferred language.
He's a TikTok kid. That's crazy.
Live translation begins.
We're looking at the live translation video from Apple because I was talking about like what they do if they don't have, if the person at the other end is broke and doesn't have AirPods.
Translating Spanish, while ANC lowers the volume.
Broccoli hair for real? That's crazy.
Hola, bienvenida. Hoy todos los claveles. Hello, welcome. Today, all the red carnations are 50% off.
That's definitely not someone speaking.
It doesn't just translate individual words. The meaning of each phrase is translated for you.
Okay.
When you need to talk, just speak naturally. I'd love to take some of these to my sister for her birthday. I'll buy 8, please.
Yeah, this is what happens. Look at this. So you just show the fucking phone to the person on the other end, and it just shows the word. So yeah, either you fucking don't be broke and get yourself a pair of AirPods, and it works on most AirPods, by the way, or you fucking show the iPhone like, yo, here's my phone, don't talk to me, bro. I'm just gonna yap to myself real quick.
The phone displays your words in their language. You can even read them out loud if needed. Vale. Live translation is even more useful when both people are...
Yeah, there we go. There's the AirPods, yeah.
I agree, yeah. Let's include the key.
Eu concordo, sim. Vamos incluir as principais descobertas na apresentação de sexta-feira.
Com certeza. O cliente vai adorar ver isso.
Definitely. The client will love that. I'll let the strategy team know to prepare that immediately. This incredible capability is enabled by advanced computational audio on AirPods, combined with Apple Intelligence models running on iPhone.
Yeah. Okay. So let's decode that Apple speak here. So let me turn the music back on. Sorry. Let's decode the Apple speak here. All right. So AirPods live translation. This is a cool feature, by the way. I like this. This is sick. But so live translation. Okay. Let's break it down. So you have 2 AirPod pairs that can translate to each other. That's what Apple is showing, right? But the reality is you have your AirPods that are connected. Okay, that looks like a penis. Connected to your iPhone, right? And then that's what I'm drawing right now. Oh, thank God, I love Seribot. Thank you so much for blocking that fucking view bot, man. All right, so then we go from iPhone to iPhone, and then we go to AirPods. So that's what's happening here. So the other way you can do it is you have AirPods to iPhone to person, and the person looks at the iPhone. That's the second way. The way I thought, here's a simple way that I think live translation can be more accessible to people. A lot of people have an iPhone, right? Versus AirPods with an iPhone. I mean, it also depends on the person. So you're speaking, you have the same setup, but then just some wired earphones. Like, Am I being stupid here, or can't you just use wired earbuds in that iPhone's microphone? Or in fact, you could do that for both. Yeah, like why the fuck do you need AirPods for this? I want to know, because like that just seems very stupid, in my opinion. Also, Link Farm, I am not a TikTok kid. I actually don't use TikTok, but I'm planning on posting shorts though in the future. Just how much I edit. The only thing is the ANC. Yeah, the only thing is the ANC. But again, with good in-ear monitors, you can get noise cancellation with no fucking issue. Like, I'm studying, and sometimes it's really hard for people to grab my attention when I'm studying. I could like hear like basal noise, and I actually like that when it comes to headphones. I don't like hearing nothing at all. So yeah, I think that the noise canceling of IEMs is perfectly usable with this technology. And since all the device processing is done on the fucking computer anyway, which is the iPhone, which is a really powerful thing, get some phone tips. Yeah, if you get some, like, I think the standard ear tips with the IEMs I have is really good nevertheless. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like Apple is forcing AirPods for this feature. Unless there's some sort of computational ability on the AirPods, which I doubt it, considering that it works with almost most pairs of AirPods anyway. It just, you know, I don't know. It's just more of like a feature that they lock to the AirPods just so people can buy them. That's what I feel. But yeah, that's something that they could do, you know, just connect it wired. It is an Apple moment, very much so. And I think that Google will probably unveil something like this. Maybe they have. I never looked at their I/O presentations, but they could unveil something like this, right? And Google Translate is obviously better than Apple Translate. And what they do is they have what I just drew, except it's an Android phone. Or they could even add a Google Translate to the iPhone, and you could have a cross-platform experience, which is truly the way to go about it. Hi, eShao55. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Nice to meet you. How are you doing tonight? Just to catch you up, I'm talking about the Apple event, and there was this thing called AirPods Live Translation, which, you know, is being featured. I'm all right. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Yeah, so we're talking about the live translation feature on the new AirPods, and how it's really just like Apple trying to be stupid. So how'd you find me? How'd you come here? I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything. If you want to lurk, go ahead. That's up to you. I also appreciate the chats. I'll just keep yapping otherwise. But anyways, yeah, so that's the AirPods in a nutshell for live translation. There's another thing I want to talk about. Searching for software dev people. All right, yeah, welcome in, welcome in. I'll just introduce myself. My name is King Bry. The model you see on your screen right here is Monami Starling, my little companion. And she's from 2077, your university student that's just exploring every aspect of knowledge in the universe. And I usually do streams every Friday or Saturday, depending on what day I'm free, because I'm a med student IRL. So I tend to do streams on tech things, education, live coding my software. Oh, I guess that'd be over to the follow. Thank you so much. But yeah, I tend to do streams regarding coding my own open source software that has a lot of stars on GitHub. I've been an open source dev for about like 6 years, 6 years at this point. And I have a lot of experience that I like to talk with everyone about. So yeah, welcome in, welcome in. If you got any questions for me, you want me to talk about something, feel free to ask me here, Twitter, join Discord. All the commands are in the chat. Welcome in. All right. So, So what's the software you're making? Okay, so the software I'm making, there's a lot of it, right? So I make iOS apps, and I also work in the LLM field, large language models. So I mainly make like backends for those. I've collaborated with a couple of people talking about my software and stuff like that. And sometimes I live code it. So I work in Python, JavaScript, TypeScript. I've worked in Rust, C++ at times. Though my friend is like a god tier C++ dev. I could never come close to him. But yeah, so essentially it allows you to run large language models like local chat GPT on your computer. That's basically what I currently work on in my spare time. But most of the time I'm a full-time medical student, so I'm doing a lot of work otherwise. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm making. And I made a few iOS apps as well. Cool, thank you. Appreciate that. And I've also made my own website and some Discord bots. So yeah. Okay, so the ad break is in 2 minutes. I'm gonna snooze it again because I want to talk about... So, question. Since, I pretty much covered the entirety of the Apple event at this point, do you guys want me to talk about the health features? Like, how does the heart rate sensor work on the Apple Watch, and how does a pulse ox machine work? Because I know Apple Watch measures pulse ox now. I want to learn C++, but I can't sit down and read stuff. I understand. So, here's the thing. I'm probably going to run a poll for this at some point in Discord or Twitter. And I'll ask, like, do you guys want to know a learn programming stream? Like, just my advice for learning how to program. Because I'm a completely hobbyist developer. I'm self-taught with everything. And I think I'm very competent as a dev, personally. But other people might think otherwise. I don't really care about other people's opinions in that regard. So, yeah, I'd be willing to talk about programming and things like that. And how did I learn how to program? What did I do to start programming, to understand different concepts? What's the motivation that you should have, etc., etc. So let me know if you want to know how to start. I'd be more than happy to teach you guys. It's one of my passions. Okay, so you're curious about the Apple Watch medical stuff. Okay, so let me tell you about how a pulse ox works, just in layman's terms. Okay. So a pulse oximeter is a very, very groundbreaking technology in medicine. Because what previously used to be used, and what people still use for like very accurate measurements, is an ABG, which is called arterial blood gases. This is basically like, let's just say this is a person's arm. That's a hand. Sorry, my drawing skills are ass. I'm not an artist. So they insert a needle. So let's just make this black thing a needle here. Into an artery, which is deep. And this is very painful. Right? Because you have to go through the veins and you have to go into the artery. Like, you have to go around the veins, you have to go into the artery. And it's usually done the ER, right? When you have like something like an asthma attack, for example, they get ABGs. And it's a very accurate way. This is a med student, this is a typical writing. Yes, it is. I'm doctor's handwriting, sorry. If you want me to explain what a word says, please ask me. But I'm explaining it as I go. Also, we got an ad break in 5 minutes, so just keep in mind for that. And I'll stop talking once it starts for all the viewers. But yeah, so it's a very painful thing to happen. But this measures your oxygen, your CO2, and stuff like that. So it measures all of that. Now, one thing we need to know is how much oxygen saturation, so O2 sats, is in the blood. This is usually, let's just say we have our red blood cell. If you guys have ever seen Cells at Work, the red blood cell is not a cute anime girl. It is just this biconcave disc. So oxygen binds to the hemoglobin inside your red blood cells, right? So the amount of oxygen bound to the hemoglobin changes the color of your blood. Usually, when you look at your veins, you see blue, right? The blue is just because the deoxygenated blood, so you have oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. This is like a dark red, and this is a bright red. You've probably seen when you got blood tests, your venous blood, right? So whenever they poke a vein, all the blood comes down to that tube, and it's just dark red, very dark red. So, for some reason the music being stupid, but that's what venous blood looks like. Arterial blood is going to be bright red. So one thing you can notice is that the normal O2 sat you should have, and this is on most, patients that everyone sees, is 98%. So 98% means that everything is 98% saturated, just for layman's terms, right? There's more involved with that, obviously, and I'm not going to go all crazy nerd on you because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing for you guys. But we're going to take... So what scientists did, they took these two concepts, and what they measured is a cool physics principle, which is wavelength. So the oxygenated blood will shoot out a specific wavelength, and the deoxygenated blood will shoot out a different wavelength, right? So if you guys have ever seen a pulse ox monitor before, let me look one up for you guys. Okay. So, and you could get these like at CVS or something, or whatever pharmacy you're in. I'm in the US, so I just assume everyone is. Oops, that's the Apple lady. Here we go. So you've seen these things, right? So all they do is they literally just shine a red light onto your finger. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is a fucking baby, okay. They shine a red light onto your finger when you put it on. Pretty prominent picture, but sure. So that red light is reflecting. So let's draw a little thing here. So this is the red light. Here's your arm. Here's the artery, right? Or the vein, whatever blood vessel is being checked. And then we send those pulses and they bounce back. So let's just say this one goes in one direction, this one comes back. And from there, the wavelength is then read and matched with this. And based on deviation from that wavelength, we can calculate what your pulse ox is. Does that make sense to you guys? So essentially what we're checking is the wavelength of the existing light so that you're able to, you know, measure the pulse ox from the pulse oximeter. This is a minimally painful and much less invasive test than ABG, which is cool. There's only one caveat that you need to know about, right? Say like you're in an ER situation and your heart isn't pumping blood. So we all know that we have our body, probably make the sticks longer. We all know that we have the body and we have the heart, right? So the heart needs to pump blood out to the core, the head, extremities, and everything. But let's say the blood can't reach the extremities, right? So we're gonna make this a line. Okay? So since pulse ox measures from the finger and there's no blood going to the finger, how do you make sure the light is pointing at the right thing? Well, usually you get your index finger. I can't draw it, but you get your index finger and you just clip it on, and it usually shows like the right side up. If there's a display, it's kind of obvious the way you need to put it on. So they make it obvious for you in terms of how you need to align the pulse ox, just to answer your question, eShadow. But to go back to what I was saying, if there's no blood flowing to that area, a pulse ox is not going to show anything. It's going to look like it's going to be 0 on the vital sign monitor. This is when an ABG is required, or if you want more accurate blood gas measurements. And that's it. That's a pulse ox. And my assumption is that's how the watch will work. It just uses the red light to figure out like, hey, is your pulse ox good? I know there's also the green light technology for heart rate, which I'll talk about next. But any questions? Anyone that hopefully answer your question, eShadow? But yeah, that's how that technology works. I learned this in one of my classes, and I found it very interesting. So I'm glad to talk to you guys about it in like a more layman's way. I can also talk to you guys about like the fucking how blood transfers carbon dioxide oxygens. Something we really had to learn for school. But yeah. I remember like, oh man, I'm gonna talk about this in the next stream, but, oh, sorry, a different stream. So another stream I was thinking about, because the Apple Watch has like a lot of stuff about sleep. I was thinking of having like a pure stream about sleeping, like the science behind sleep, you know, how does sleep work, and what can you do to make your sleep better? What's the culture like around sleep, etc., etc. Would you guys be interested to watch something like that? I mean, I'd be down to talk about it. I like yapping about stuff like that. Aren't blood vessels super thin? Well, think about, how do you make sure the light beam hits a blood vessel? Oh, that way. Yeah, so, well, look at your arm, right? Look at your wrist, for example. You could see your veins. And again, like, you could see your veins right now. So the light is going to shine through and it'll check there, basically. So in your extremity area, the blood vessels are more visible than obviously in your core. So that's why the light is able to shine and see that blood, basically. And that's how the O2s is checked. So a good question. Actually, it's a really good question. But yeah, it's literally just because, you know, it can see it. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to think that hard for that type of stuff. But yeah. Anyways, let me know what you think about the sleep stream, guys. I'm gonna run a quick ad break right now just so we can skip it, and I can talk about the heart rate monitor for watches. And if you're subscribed, obviously, you can also use the ad block command to block ads. I don't give a fuck about ad money. You guys can do whatever you want to do to skip them. I don't give a shit. So anyways, I'm gonna run the ad right now, and we'll talk about the heart rate monitoring when it's finished. I'll just yap for those who don't see the ads. Sorry guys, we just need to do this so there's no pre-rolls for new people. But yeah, for all you guys that are still here, I was thinking I'm gonna show you guys my new Monami things, because I got a couple of things rigged by my artist. Very good, very nice dude. I need to actually pay him, but very nice guy. I like talking to him. But yeah. Okay, so let me get the documentation for the heart rate monitoring up. Heart rate monitor, Apple Watch, how does it work? And I'll talk about the sleep monitoring in the sleep stream if we're doing it, because if you want to look up how the sleep stuff works, it's called actinography. So that's something. I mean, obviously there's a better way to measure your sleep versus actinography, but yeah. So let's see. Sensitive photodiodes. When your heart beats, the blood flow is greater. Okay, here we go. So it says on Apple's website. All right, that's very helpful. I'm glad that they talk about it on the website. It's really nice. I know Apple's health app is very comprehensive compared to the competition, so that's really cool. Oh yeah, another thing that Apple loves to talk about, or sorry, one thing that captures people when it comes to Apple is let's see. Okay, perfect. Cool, ad break's done. Thank you, bot. Hopefully you guys are back. Are you guys back? Oh man. All right. Let me know when you guys are back, and I'll yap about the heart rate. But one thing I want to talk about is that Apple's peripheral selling, like the AirPods, like I previously said, is finished. Sweet. All right. The AirPods, like I previously said, is making Apple money because, you know, the Android experience with AirPods sucks compared to the Apple experience. So people just buy an iPhone to be more into the ecosystem. But the Apple Watch is another thing, right? Because most of the Android watches aren't as good as the Apple one, from what I've heard, at least from what people have told me. So I don't use AirPods. I don't use an Apple Watch. I'm a very, you know, conservative guy. How late do I end? I mean, I usually end at like 11:30, but I'm probably gonna end like later than that, honestly, today. I just like to keep yapping. When people start chatting, I just like to keep talking, you know? Oh man. But yeah, feel free to chill here if you're down. If you gotta go, I understand. Anyways, so let's talk about, I think the last thing I'm going to talk about is the heart rate monitor. Unless you guys want me to talk about something else that Apple mentioned, or you want me to just state my theories on stuff that Apple's done. But yeah, let's just go over what Apple says about the watch and heart rate measurement, because this one is also pretty cool. It's very similar to the pulse ox, like I previously mentioned. So yeah. So let me zoom in here. Let's look at this diagram here first. So we have this green, red, and infrared LEDs. If you ever look on the bottom of an Apple Watch while it's working, you usually see these pulsing green lights. And these red lights are most likely for the pulse ox. Infrared, I'm not 100% sure what they're for. And I guess infrared... Oh, yeah, sorry. Infrared can also be used to measure wavelength as well. So that's possible. I believe it's mainly the red lights that do that. And green is what's used for heart. So hopefully that makes sense. But let's read what Apple says about it. So how does Apple Watch measure your heart rate? The optical sensor is what is known as photoplethysmography. Right, so that's a technique that's used for optical heart rate measurement. This technology, which is difficult to pronounce, is based on a very simple fact. Blood is red because it reflects red light and absorbs green light. Apple Watch uses green LED lights with light-sensitive photodiodes, so these guys here, to detect the amount of blood flowing through your wrist at any given moment. When your heart beats, the blood flow on your wrist and the green light absorption is greater. Between beats, it's less. So let's make a graphical diagram about this. So as you guys know, you got your heart here. Now there's a way to draw a heart scientifically. Scientifically, the way to draw the heart, I mean, you just have RA, RV, LA, LV. So those are the chambers of the heart, right? But for our sake, we'll just draw like a normal heart shape. That's fine. But we have the heart. It has a lub, dub, lub, dub. This is essentially, let's actually draw the 4 chambers. So basically, you get redder every time. Not necessarily. I mean, redness on the skin is due to a different mechanism. If you want, I could talk about that after I talk about how the heart pumps blood throughout the body. But redness is not exclusively through that mechanism. So let's do RA, RV, LA, LV. So this is right atrium, right ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Those are the 4 chambers of the heart, right? And between each heart chamber, I'm gonna go standard eraser, are valves. So these are the valves here. And there are valves, you know, that go this way out to the vessels, right? Okay, so on a lub, oh shit, let me erase those arrows. So on a lub, this is called systole. So your heart is contracting. When your heart contracts, it pushes blood, oh, sorry, no, it doesn't push blood down. It pushes blood out of the ventricles to the rest of the body, or to the lungs, right? One of the two. That's systole. It's the lub part of the heart. And then the dub is relaxation. So this is, so basically on the lub, these valves close and blood is pushed out. Now on the dub, these valves open and blood goes through. That's diastole. Now again, not 100% correct, right? Because there's something called the cardiac cycle and very in depth, and there's different stages, but let's just put it for layman's terms. The lub is systole and the dub is diastole. Now, how does this relate to the green light and measuring your heart? So let's draw your arm again. Wow, I'm really drawing your guys' arms very well today. Let's say we have the artery. On every lub, I'm gonna go back to the normal eraser. The blood is being pushed through the entire body. The pressure is pushing, the aorta is pushing all the blood through, and it's going through. So that's gonna increase the speed. Now on a dub, or any type of relaxation of the heart, the speed's gonna be less because your heart is refilling. The blood is still moving, right, because of arterial contraction, but it's not having that forward propulsion. So this is gonna decrease the speed. So the watch measures the period of time in between that lub and dub. So the more blood that comes coursing through at that moment means the more your heart is pumping that time. And the difference between that is basically your heart rate is what it's saying. So let me just validate with that document just to make sure I'm right here. So yeah, what it says. So when your heart beats, the blood flow in your wrist is greater, right? Because you have more blood rushing through. Between beats, it's less. So it's dropping, it's refilling. By flashing its LED hundreds of times per second, Apple Watch can then calculate the number of times the heart beats via the contraction, relaxation, and then it can calculate your heart rate. So it'll be able to calculate that. And then it says the optical heart sensor can use infrared light, and it uses it to measure heart rate in the background. And basically the green LED is way more accurate, obviously, and it measures heart rate during workouts. Okay. So yeah, that's how the heart rate works. Hopefully that was helpful in understanding what your watch does. Again, right? If you want to properly measure your vitals and everything, go to doctor. They will tell you. I was talking about a friend this earlier. It feels like the answer to every question about biology. Well, yeah, I'm simplifying it for you guys here because, again, when you get into... Can you link that article? Yeah, sure, no worries. I can get it for you. Hold up. Here is the article for you guys. That's the Apple page. But yeah, the thing with biology is that humans are weird. Especially when it comes to fields like neurology and psychology. There are like conditions like Parkinson's, anxiety, depression, ALS that we know what the symptoms are. They can't be explained. I have a psychiatrist friend as well, a VTuber friend, and we also talk about this at times, but there are also some psychiatric drugs that work, right? But they can't be explained. We don't know why the fuck they work, but they work, so we just use them. Like for ADHD, for example, you give stimulants. Why? It just works. What's the mechanism? I don't fucking know. So yeah, Shadow, that's like a thing in medicine. Sometimes you have stuff, it just works for no fucking reason, but we use it anyway, even though we don't really know the mechanism too well. But for the heart, if you ever want to look up like how exactly the heart beats, I recommend looking up the cardiac cycle and also getting some information about how all the 4 chambers of the heart work, you know? In the future, they'll think of I mean, to be fair, right? They'll think of pre-year 3000 as the medical dark ages. I mean, to be completely fair, we think of like the 1900s, 1800s as the medical dark ages, right? Because people were still discovering the hand washing does stuff and things like that. So yeah. But let me talk about vitals as well. So the way pulse is measured is usually there's different locations. I'll look them up real quick. There's many different locations you can measure a pulse. Okay. And this is usually done with nursing, but it also is done with the doctor if they just want to recheck. Okay, so let's go over the pulse points here. Alright, so temporal artery, you don't use that. Facial artery, you don't use that. Carotid artery, you've probably heard from health class, it's the one on your neck. The brachial artery is the one on your arm, the little crook of your, in between, on like the underside of your elbow. If you go close to your pinky and you put 2 fingers there, you'll feel a pulse. That's your brachial pulse. It's primarily used for whenever you know when doctors take blood pressure, they put the cuff over you, they put a stethoscope on. The stethoscope is usually over that brachial pulse. The radial pulse is what's primarily used by physicians, right? Because it's really accessible. The number one thing when it comes to taking a pulse is you don't want to use your thumb, because your thumb actually has its own pulse. So if you try and take your pulse with your thumb, you'll get an inaccurate reading. So you always use 2 fingers and you take a pulse by placing it on those arteries. So the radial artery is close, a little below the thumb, and you'll feel it when you place your fingers there. There's also the femoral artery. You don't really do that because of privacy issues. Popliteal artery is sometimes used for EM, emergency medicine. And let's say you have a foot problem, right? Something that's wrong with the feet. Let's say you have swelling. Let's say you have diabetes. You can utilize the posterior tibial artery, which is behind like the inner bony prominence on your ankle. If you ever, feel that, you could go right behind that and you should be able to feel a pulse there. That's the posterior tibial artery. And there's the dorsalis pedis, which is in between the big toe and the second toe of your foot. So those are usually used whenever someone comes in with like swelling or something, or some sort of foot problem, So that's how pulse is measured. But most of the time, whenever you see a nurse, they'll measure like your radial pulse, and it's done over 15 seconds unless you have a cardiac complication. So you could do 15 seconds multiplied by 4. 15 times 4 is 60, so beats per minute. You can also do over 30 seconds, so 30 times 2 is 60. If you have a history of like any disease, heart disease or something, you'd want to do the full 60 seconds just to make sure everything is good. So that's the most accurate way to measure a pulse, but for the sake of time with the patient, most people do 15 seconds. And for like the carotid pulse, you gotta be careful. Yeah, BP measure. Yeah, I can tell you about that. It's pretty straightforward. Sorry. For the carotid pulse, one thing that we learned is that you want to make sure you don't dislodge a clot by accident. So we always listen before we feel, because feeling always has the chance of dislodging a clot. It's the same in the stomach area. You always listen before you feel. So if you ever hear a doctor like, hey, I'm just going to listen to your neck for a second, they're just checking your carotids. That's it, before they palpate them. So yeah. And again, the carotids go straight to your head. So, those are very, very important arteries. You don't want to fuck them up. And also, you're not going to measure from your neck. And also, and you can measure from your neck, it's fine. Measuring from your wrist is probably the safer option. But just make sure not to compress both carotid arteries, otherwise you can pass out. I recommend not doing it, just for the record. I'm just telling you that is what could happen. So anyone tries to pull that as a prank, yeah, don't do that. Because again, those are the arteries going to your fucking head. Anyways, just a little fun fact I wanted to add in there. So eShadow asked about the blood pressure cuff, so I can talk about that real quick. BP cuff measurement. Okay. Here we go. This is wearing it. Let's see. Yeah, this is good enough. So let's look at BP cuffs. Pretty nice little thing to talk about. Okay. So here are the blood pressure cuffs. And you can see that there are different sizes. So let me show you guys what it looks like. So we have our arm. I actually talked about blood pressure earlier in the stream, but I didn't really talk about it in depth. I don't really want to at the moment, so I'm probably going to save the in-depth talk about high blood pressure for another stream, just so you know. So let's just say the blood pressure cuff looks like this, right? It wraps around your arm, nice and tight, usually around the upper arm. So eShadow, you tell me if you understand this. Whenever you compress your arm, you are compressing the blood vessels inside your arm, technically, yes? That makes sense. Because whenever you compress your arm, you're compressing the blood vessels. When you compress the blood vessels, so let's draw the arm again. When you compress them, let's make this narrow and then wide, you're increasing the pressure inside that area. So you're increasing the pressure and also decreasing it down here. So you're artificially increasing the pressure in that extremity, so in that arm. And then you put your stethoscope on the brachial pulse, like we previously showed. So the stethoscope will go like about here, distally. Distal means like away from the torso of the trunk of the body. So we're gonna put it a little distally. And the physician puts their stethoscope there. They also wrap it around so that they can listen to it. And what happens is you inflate it up to about 200 millimeters of mercury. 200, 180, whatever. Some random number. Okay? And then you slowly drop it. So when you... This means you're basically shutting everything off. You're trying to cut the circulation off, technically, for a temporary period of time. Then you start... That's why it hurts, right? Then you start deflating the cuff. So when the cuff starts deflating, say we get to around like 120, right? That's a normal blood pressure reading. So we get to around 120 millimeters of mercury. And then you start hearing a beat. This beat is your systolic blood pressure. This is the immediate release of blood flow, which is what I said before. The systolic blood pressure is the immediate rush. So that's your systolic. And then it keeps dropping until we get to like, let's say 70 millimeters of mercury on the blood pressure monitor. So once you get to 70, then you stop hearing everything. The blood is flowing just fine. So that last sound that you hear is the diastolic blood pressure. Systolic. So basically, whenever they say 120 over 70, this is a good blood pressure, by the way. They're saying 120 systolic, meaning the first beat that you hear, and 70 diastolic. Yeah, it does make sense after you learn how it works. I learned blood pressure when I was much younger, but the principles behind it are a little bit more complicated than you might think, but it's not that bad. It's literally just pressure of your blood. As for the redness thing, I'll talk about the redness thing because you asked about it. So you got your cheeks, right? So let's say we have this dude. Oh shit. So we have this dude. Very nice. Looks pretty cool. I'm not drawing Monami here. Actually, I could draw Monami. Hold on. Oh fuck, wait, no. Where's the toggle? Yeah, there we go. So now there's redness in Monami's cheeks, right? So Monami is getting red because of something called vasodilation. So let's say we have a vessel here. It's normal sized, and it's flowing blood. Nice and easy through just doing its own thing. But at some point, you know, let's say you get flustered right? Like, oh my god, this person loves me. She's flirting with me. It's gonna make you all flustered and happy, right? So it's gonna activate your sympathetic nervous system. Now, if you guys know, sympathetic nervous system means fight or flight, and parasympathetic is rest and digest. Bryce, so smart, thank you. Rest and digest, which means like, hey, we're chilling, we're vibing. I'm currently in a bit of sympathetic right now because a little bit of nervousness, you know? But the sympathetic nervous system increases everything except digestion, right? It is pretty common whenever you have like a shock and you ate something to start to have a feeling of you want to throw up. So yeah, that's because of your sympathetic nervous system activating all of a sudden. But whenever it activates, you just dilate the blood vessels. It's like, wow, she's into me. She's fucking hot as shit. I'm kidding, by the way. But yeah, so you get flustered and you start to see that redness on your cheeks. That's because your blood vessels are responding by widening. So they widen up and you're able to see them more clearly on your skin. So that's what vasodilation is. That's what makes the redness happen most of the time. And other times, like, redness can happen too if you're bleeding internally, so just be careful of that. But as you know, blood is red, so you don't want it to be the other thing. So yeah, there's also many rashes that can cause redness and things like that. If you ever have a rash that you don't understand, see a dermatologist, please. But yeah, that is essentially redness. And the medical term for redness is called erythema. Again, medical terms are usually Latin or Greek. So I don't know the exact translation of this, but erythema means redness. So if you ever hear that in a medical saying because the doctor's like, I'm talking doctor speak now, then that's what redness means. So yeah. Again, as you know, you guys are always allowed to request your own medical charts because they're your information. So doctors will obviously write in those charts in doctor speak with abbreviations and everything. So yeah, erythema will be there. Most likely if you ever had redness in your life, like say on, for example, your skin, you get like a rash or something, it becomes erythematous, meaning that it becomes red. So yeah. Rash or something. Rash. Yeah, or something. Yeah, there's a lot of... Dermatology is a very, very, very crazy field. Don't ask me about derm. I'm not amazing at it. So yeah, I'm getting better, but I'm not amazing. The one thing you really shouldn't ask me about is OB-GYN. Dude, I'm terrible at that. But anyways. If they're flirting with someone, they're embarrassed or... Yep, that's right. They're embarrassed or they're dying. Like, if you start seeing redness in, like, your stomach abdominal area, that's a sign for a problem, my friend. But anyways, I mean, I talked about osteoporosis earlier, like how, you know, the bone holes can get larger as you age due to low calcium. Sepsis soon. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, I told this to someone that I was working with today. But again, because they were concerned that, oh, am I growing bacteria? Because they had like a bunch of blisters on their skin or something. And again, you're not growing bacteria, right? Your skin, so this is your arm, and we're not looking at the vessels this time. It has normal bacteria on them. And if you ever get like a cut or something, those bacteria can go in, right? But your immune system is going to protect against them, obviously. So anything that is like standing, for example, we have an abscess. So an abscess usually looks like this. It's just a pocket of fluid inside your body. Anything that's standing, usually scientists call that a nidus. And that means it's a place where stuff can grow because it's standing. So that is a way that sepsis can happen. And that's why surgeons are very, very careful to not have any fluid, excess fluid and stuff left over in the body, because you got to be careful that you don't cause sepsis. In every like hospital orientation, they have for anything that involves surgery, they have a guide explaining how to, there's like a full sepsis protocol on how to prevent it. And yeah, so that's how sepsis can happen. There's also, if you have necrosis, if you have like death of a tissue. So one common example is like osteonecrosis of the femoral head. So that's your femur. This is the part that connects to your hip bone, your pelvis. And this can get necrosis because, you know, you're clogging off the blood vessel as a child due to a couple of conditions that I'm not going to talk about. And let me just draw the pelvis here for brevity's sake. That's a really bad drawing. There we go. That's good enough. I'll just move this down. Oh, shit. There we go. So that's the pelvis, right? And you can get necrosis of this, and this is a way that you can get sepsis, because necrosis is an immune reaction that can create nidus, and that causes stuff to happen. You can also get it, you know, if in your gallbladder tree. Like, let's say we have, I'll just give, this is the last example, I promise. Let's just say this is your liver. This is your, yeah, so it's like this. These are your bladder ducts. This is your pancreas, right? So if anything like gets obstructed here, right, this can stay and it can ascend to the liver and cause infection, or, you know, it's called ascending cholangitis. So yeah, that's a very, very bad disease that needs immediate workup. So yeah, there's a lot of things that could happen. But anywhere there's some sort of stillness within the body through something foreign, right? Diabetes too, if you're... Diabetes is very interesting, actually, because with diabetes, you can't tell, right? So let's... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a foot here. Ooh, yeah, feet. Funny, very funny. Here. I'll show our subject's feet right here. Monami feet. Ooh, take a picture. Kidding. So we got a foot. Now, basically, with nephropathy of the... neuropathy. Sorry, not nephropathy. What the fuck am I saying? So neuropathy of the foot, there's so much swelling due to, like, all the sugar. Sugar brings in water. So there's a lot of... Diabetes is just like a shitload of water compressing everything in the body. So you're having compression on this nerve, and it causes burning. So this burning pain and all that stuff. So because you have that neuropathy, you can't notice when you have an infection on your foot. And yes, that's what Zero X said. Diabetes too, because you can have ulcers from diabetes, which is a nidus for infection. So yeah, that's diabetes. And you don't notice it. That's the thing. So whenever someone says they have diabetes and they have diabetic neuropathy, every single visit, you usually check on the foot just to make sure everything is okay. Or somebody checks on the foot after taking off their socks because, you know, it's even more compression on top of the existing, you know, compression from diabetes. So yeah. Okay. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about, you know, regarding the Apple tech and stuff like that? I know I went on a tangent. I apologize. I mean, if you guys are okay with that, that's fine by me. But yeah, I mean, I just like yapping about this type of stuff. So I completely understand if you guys, you know, get bored or if you get confused. Ask me a question at any time, please. I'd love to know. I'd love to hear your questions. What browser? Oh, I'm using Zen browser, but I'm going to switch to Brave. The reason why is because Zen browser takes up way too many resources. Yeah, I recommend using Brave and customizing it a lot. The unfortunate part is that I can't exactly take out the profile like I could with Firefox, so it gets a little bit wonky. I'm trying to figure out how to, you know, copy everything over. So yeah, we'll see from there. But yeah, I did a lot of customization to get rid of Brave's crypto and AI bullshit. Even though I like LLMs, they're fun, Brave's Leo thing is so terrible that I just don't use it. It's terrible. Okay, so we got 4 minutes to an ad. I just want to show you guys a couple more things and we'll end. Is it okay if I do a quick ad break, push the ad back, and then we can just do a quick outro? How's that for you guys? I also want to show some stuff on Monami. I'm hoping Ladybird becomes usable. Yeah. The dev of Ladybird is also mad chill. Like, I follow him on Twitter. If you... I'll show him on Twitter after the ad break. So let's run the ad break for now, and then we'll regroup, and I'll talk about all those things. All right, see you in a bit. All right, while that ad is going, hopefully it should start in... Yep, perfect. All right, so while that ad is going, I'm going to look up Mr. Kling. Andreas Kling. Let's see. Awesome Kling. What the fuck did I just... Psykin, what the fuck are you doing? Wait, I want to... I'm gonna raid this person. Maybe. I'll see. Maybe I'll just raid Stux. Who knows? Let's see. Awesome... Link. Here we go. Andreas Kling, Ladybird browser. This guy's a fucking G. I'll show you guys this once it's done. I'm gonna look up this streamer that's fucking... It's a Niji Sanji streamer. Okay, bro. I'm not gonna go over OB stuff. It's just a nightmare. Jeez. Anyways. But yeah, Ladybird is a pretty nice browser. Brave is a really good browser. I know some of you guys somehow don't have ads. It's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't care about the ad money. I wish Twitch did that for more people, like me, who tries to watch my friend's stream, and it's like, oh, hey, you have a fucking ad. Okay, I don't want to watch the stream anymore. I only persevere because it's my friend that I'm watching the stream of, but I don't got $5 for everyone, man. Oh, someone gives me a sub, that's the fire part. Ad break is finishing, alright. Yeah, you guys back, chat? You guys back? Everyone good? Everyone alive? I know you guys have to survive through 2 minutes of Pizza Hut ads or whatever the fuck they do now. G Fuel ads. I don't know. I don't like G Fuel. I think G Fuel and energy drinks are bad for you, but that's just me. Okay, here's the creator of Ladybird. Again, also, if you want to follow my Twitter, just shilling my account here. Yeah, King Bry first. Yeah, just... Yeah, there you go. But anyways, here's the dev of Ladybird. Basically, for those of you guys who don't know what a Ladybird is, it's essentially just a completely open source web browser implementation. So web browsers nowadays usually follow one of 3 different engines. So every browser... Shit. Has an engine. And the engine is what powers all of the browsing stuff, right? So you can go to your websites and everything. So there's 3 engines that are currently popular. Number 1 is Chromium, which is developed by Google. It's the open source portion of Google Chrome. Number 2, or sorry, well, Chromium isn't exactly an engine. It utilizes something called the Blink engine, and this is made by Google. Just to clarify for any tech nerds out there. Then there's Gecko, which is developed by Mozilla, the guys behind Firefox. And finally, we have WebKit, which is Safari, and it's by Apple. Now, Blink is actually a fork of WebKit. Put it out there first. Blink is a fork of WebKit. So any browser that you see, such as Brave, Arc, Vivaldi, Zen, Firefox, Safari, even Microsoft Edge. These all go into these engines. So they are most likely using one of 3. And the most probable one they are using is Chromium, because this is the one that's supported by every web extension and first-hand support by every website. So Chromium is the de facto web engine. And some of them use Gecko like Zen and Firefox, and WebKit is mainly used by Safari. I don't know of any other browser that uses WebKit, unless you're on an iPhone. If you are making a browser for an iPhone, and I know this because I've made one, you have to use WebKit. There is no other alternative that you can use unless for some reason these 2 browser engines make a version for iPhone. So you have to use WebKit. Google Chrome on your iPhone, Firefox on your iPhone, Brave on your iPhone, it's all Safari. Just reskin. That's it. So just so you guys know. Anyways, so basically, Mr. Kling here is building a full browser engine from the ground up in a browser called Ladybird. And Ladybird is a fully open source, fully independent web browser that's being worked on to this day. And it is pretty cool, right? It's a pretty cool project. The dev is a fucking Chad. And, I mean, I follow him. He's cool. But yeah, everyone is supporting it because Google reigns a huge tight control over the browser ecosystem at this time. And Apple holds the second biggest control due to Safari on iOS. And then Mozilla doesn't hold like any control over the browser ecosystem. So it's like, it is open source, yes, but it's also Google who can pull the plug or change things at any time. This was most prominent when it came to uBlock Origin, which required manifest v2 and was basically neutered with manifest v3, right? So that's another thing. Mozilla is just there for legal reasons. Yeah, of course. I mean, I know Mozilla has been some hot water recently, and I think they also have some donations from Google, so it's kind of a weird thing. They also had some really weird shit happen to them that caused a lot of controversy. But yeah. Sorry. But anything browser related is mostly just like pejorative. Like nobody really cares outside of tech nerds because most people just use Chrome anyways. I can't even name the amount of people. I can name on my hand, let me rephrase that. I can name on my hand the amount of people that use a non-Chrome browser. Like the amount of people I know outside of the online tech circle. So most people IRL just download Google Chrome and use it. I have friends, payments tab Google as a, yeah, exactly. And that's the same for iPhones as well. Google pays Apple to have it as the default search engine for Safari. I made an extension because iPhones, for some reason, have 5 search engines. They don't have like the same thing on browser where you could just like put in a custom search engine URL. So you can choose only 5 search engines, and I made a browser extension, which is now defunct, by the way, because I don't really develop that stuff anymore, that essentially allows you to add search engines by overriding an existing one and just navigating to the new one. So I personally gave up on Google like in 2021 after they started becoming shitified. I hate Google as a search engine. It's terrible. So I just run, let me find it for you guys. You've probably seen it as we've been going through the stream. Circs, yeah, Circs NG. So I use this. Essentially, it's a self-hosted search engine that aggregates from other search engines, right? So it aggregates from Google, Bing, Brave Search, everything. So it's a really nice, yeah, it's a meta search engine. So you can't be tracked, can't be profiled, can't be anything. It's just literally you searching things, and there's no real bias, no real ads, nothing put into it. It's really, really good for search. I highly recommend it. There's also Coggy and Brave Search and all those other ones that if you can't really pay for a server, then obviously you'd use those. Or you could just use a public Circs instance, but again, that's literally talking to someone's random server that you don't trust, so that's something else. I mean, to be fair, if you're talking to Google, can you even trust that? Who knows? So yeah. Anyways. So yeah, that's Circs. But yeah, I did want to show a couple of things. And again, any questions, anything, ask me, but I did want to show a couple of things regarding Bonomy if you guys want to listen. Are you guys interested? I can show it on the next stream too, like in the beginning, but I got a few things rigged and I got a few new additions, some new arts that I posted on Twitter. Okay, sure. Let me switch to chatting here. Oh my god. I'm sliding below. I'm hiding. I have social anxiety. I'm hiding under my desk. Anyways. Alright, so if you guys don't know, this is my character Monomy. It's her default outfit, you know. She has a little flight outfit, and she also has this doctor outfit. I showed the doctor one last stream as well. So that's her, right? She has a bunch of outfits. There might be something coming up soon. Shush. I'll show you guys that when it becomes more materialized. But yeah, so that's Monomy. What I did want to show on her, I got a few things made. I'm gonna zoom in. So I have this little cheek puff thing. I know you guys like it. So I'm drinking water. She's angry. Yeah, so that's one thing that's on her. The other thing, I didn't make an expression first, so let me just trigger it real quick. We have this little excited stars here. We also have this little angry thing here. I could actually make it even worse. Oh, I can't show it. Fuck. Okay. So we have this angry thing here. There's also gonna be like this eyeshadow thing for like discuss, but like it kind of got scrapped due to the rigging. And yeah, that's the new stuff that I got added. Just like a couple of expressions other than the stuff I already have on this idiot. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, the previously rigged model, my dude forgot to add like this little belt. You see the belt on her hips here? He forgot to add it. So I'm like, yo, where's the belt at? He's like, oh shit, I forgot. I'm like, oh, there we go. So yeah, There's the Monami thing. And then I also added another thing. If you want to take a look at the screen here, this is some art I commissioned for... Yeah, diagonal, yeah. So I commissioned this art here of Monami studying as... It's a really fucking good animation. I'm actually surprised as to how it came out. I will show you guys the artist in a second. I am actually shocked by how good this is. This is awesome. So let me find the Twitter. He has a scam, by the way. He, she, I don't know who the person is, but this is the person. So if you want to commission them on Skeb, please do. Very, very talented animator and illustrator. Definitely a bit pricey. And where are the examples of the animations here? Yeah, here's some animation examples. So that's what they made, right? So these are cool. It's definitely worth. So one piece of advice I've had for VTubers, and I learned this from someone else, get your animations from Skeb because they're cheaper. Like, you just say what you want. The thing with Skeb is that it's very inflexible, meaning that whatever you say is what you get, and you have to be happy with it. And you pay up front, and you have to wait for it, right? So that's how Skeb works. You're putting it at a risk, but the people I've commissioned, very nice people. They've done a really good job. My starting screen, let me show you guys that, is also by an artist on Skeb. I'll show him as well. I think he follows me. Mad chill to work with. This one. This is the one I commissioned. It's actually cheaper than the idle animation. This one. So yeah, I'll just transition to this animation real quick. And let me add Monami here. So if you guys like this animation you see on screen, what do you guys think? I don't know if I'm going to actually do this because my methods are very unorthodox. What do you guys think about possible study streams? You know, where I, do my studies, I put this GIF up, you guys can study as well, and then I can like yap midway through, you guys can chat and stuff like that. What do you guys think about that? I don't know if I'll do them often because I'm usually working, but I guess if I have some free time in the morning or afternoon, or sorry, free time as in I'm studying during then, I don't mind putting it up. Could be interesting. Yeah, sure. I have like some studying text on this animation as well. So yeah, I'm in love with this animation. It's really fucking good. Like the amount of frames and work that was put into this is jaw dropping for me. Like this is fucking awesome. I recommend commissioning them for sure if you are ever interested. Anyways, so oh god, I'm tiny. I'm so small. The notes too. Yeah, the notes, dude. Oh my god. Like he has the golden ratio, quadratic equations and shit. That's fucking awesome, man. I guess the Monami's lore is that she is a quantum physicist major with the robotics club stuff. So yeah, and I guess maybe I don't know if you saw my doctor outfit because my ID is actually that golden ratio, which is cool. So yeah, let me but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for today. I hope you guys good attention. It's really good attention to detail. I love it. It's like above and beyond, dude. Highly recommend this person. Unfortunately, to boost and review people on Skeb, you have to pay, and unfortunately, I'm not willing to pay any more than I already paid. So, yeah, the unfortunate part. But yeah, that is pretty much it from my end. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the stream today. Thank you all for pulling up, chilling with me. I always appreciate it. Did you guys think? If you guys think I did a good job, whatever. If you guys have any ideas, I've been revamping my Discord, so feel free to join it. It has a new stream category, so you can be able to talk there, yap with the people who want support, talk about AI stuff. All my projects are there. You could also suggest stream ideas if you're ever interested in them. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. We talked a lot about the Apple event today. I was going to talk about another thing, but depending on if my plans get canceled tomorrow, we can either talk about tomorrow or next week. And next week, I'm actually looking into a stream about sleep. So we might do that. I'll do some research depending on how much time I have because I'm going to be very busy next week, unfortunately. So we'll either do a focused topic stream or we'll just do a general stream, talk about some like articles and stuff. I don't know when it's going to be either. It'll probably be Saturday because maybe I'll be hanging out Friday. I have no idea. But yeah. So again, the sleep stream was because I got an e-reader recently. I've been reading manga on it. So yeah, I'd be happy to show you guys about that. But okay, so let's find someone to raid. Again, yeah, let's find someone to raid real quick. There's a lot of people I can raid, bro. Fuck. Alright, you guys want to raid Rixie? She's playing Hollow Knight right now, and I love Hollow Knight a lot, so... And I can also yell at her about her gameplay. Because I'm a Hollow Knight master. TM. I'm kidding. Let's do it. Alright, bet. So let me raid this dumbass. And only I can call her a dumbass, no one else can. Alright. Sweet. Sounds good, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Feel free to drop a follow. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to check out my YouTube channel, my Twitter, my socials. Again, to drop by for the HLE again. I will definitely drop by if you guys want me to do some more medical questions. I'm more than happy to do so. The thing is, I'm doing a shitload of medical questions right now, and that is draining my brain. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen because I am not free on Wednesday nights. So it's going to have to be a different day. But yeah, what was I going to say? So you should check my Discord. I have an event there usually every Friday or Saturday, one of the 2 days I stream, but I will announce it there. And if you have a Twitter, follow me. I'll definitely announce it on Twitter as well, based on if the news is there. If the questions are tilt-worthy. Yeah, I remember Caesar getting mad at like the the stuff. But anyways, before the raid timer expires, again, check out my socials, join my Discord, check out my Twitter if you want to see any stream updates, life updates, tech updates, whatever. And we're gonna raid this idiot and just call her bad at Hollow Knight. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys. I shall see you in the next stream, which is hopefully next Friday or Saturday. I'll post some updates. See ya!